Coming off the worst week of the year for stocks, markets trying to bounce here so far this morning, although we are heading southbound currently for both NASDAQ futures and the S&P right now. Still positive on the day, about 0.5% for the S&P, 0.6 right now for the NASDAQ. Lots of things moving around here in the pre-market, including we'll touch on Tesla here. Nice bounce after, absolutely just got hammered on Friday right into the close, closed at the low of the day, sold off even more into the aftermarket. A lot of things bouncing here this morning, coming off charts that look very similar to this. Boeing, that's the overall market there. NASDAQ, low of the day we went out on Friday. Boeing, another one, huge bounce. Looks like they may cautiously avert a strike here. We'll touch on that coming up as well. But as we head towards, remember, not this week we'll hear from Jerome Powell, but next week we'll hear from Jerome Powell. That said, a couple of big inflation prints coming up this week, both CPI and PPI. So lots to look forward to. Obviously, Apple on watch here today as well, ahead of the iPhone 16.
No question about it, Brendo. GLOWTIME going to start today. Lots to talk about, but Huawei really getting ahead of the curve here, dropping their kind of tri-foldable phone ahead. You could pre-order that from Saturday. 2.5 million pre-orders already. Palantir added to the S&P, Dell re-added to the S&P, and Google going to face off with the government again, Brendo.
Of course. It's that time of year. I guess one fold isn't enough now. There needs to be more than one fold on folding phones, but we'll see what Apple comes up with. Here's ARM. Speaking of Apple, apparently going to use ARM chips or ARM's platform for their chips going into new phone models. So a nice gap here for ARM, up 3.3% here to start off the brand new week. Sean back in the seat this morning, guys. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, we're back. Hopefully this market can come back a little bit here.
I think it can.
What happened? We got more dollars added over here.
Well, Randy came by with another dollar. I don't remember what there's no reason why we have the bucks. This is obviously still remains in here. I don't know what we're going to do with it. We were going to buy some big lots with it, and now Big Lots is going bankrupt, so I don't even think they're going to trade again. That's pretty much out the window.
Big Lots is going bankrupt.
Yeah, it was halted last I checked.
There's a couple companies that aren't going bankrupt, like Palantir.
And Palantir and Dell, they finally do it. It only took a year after eligibility for them to wise up. So third Friday this month.
Yeah, the 23rd. So we got just,
Is that
14 days. 14 days. So a week, 2 weeks today, Palantir will be added up 8%. So we'll celebrate that one. Finally, something going to the upside. And you can see here on the daily chart, Palantir starting to break out right now, taking out 33 and change would be the 52-week high. It's 33.11 as marked down. So that will be the number one trade here. On the sticky note, it'll be a Palantir breakout, but already up 8%. This could be a name that's faded too, right? So we'll see what happens here, but right at a beautiful level. You get the catalyst, we get the breakout. Let's see here what happens with Palantir today, but yeah, it should be pretty fun. Google, Tesla, Palantir, a couple names. We got
Tesla
GameStop earnings. We got the debate tomorrow. We got DJT up as well. So yeah. Pretty exciting. I mean, I think there's a lot for whatever you want to trade today.
Yeah, there's a little bit of something for everybody today. I mean, the weed names are even moving around a little bit. MSOS making some moves. Obviously, some power. Some positive talk from the Trump administration when it comes to marijuana. And when the debate happens, maybe they'll get another bit of a spark. But do not sleep on. We always talk about the chips. Don't sleep on the chips. I know there's no specific catalyst for them, but you almost saw that 100 on Nvidia on Friday. And if we get anywhere close to that, they defended 101 pretty well, and you got the 100 level. ARM is going to be in play. They were unusually strong last week in all of that dumping. I mean, everything was down on Friday, but they were relatively strong, I should say, not breaking as far down as everything else. And now with the Apple event, of course, they're using ARM's platform. I mean, who isn't for smartphones? So this one is also going to be on watch. Setting up to be a fun week, to be sure. And I'm all smiles because the Bills eked out a win, although I told everybody of our picks in Survivor on Friday, and thank you very much to Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals.
Do we see how many other people lost there?
There were 38-84, and I think 60% of the league is still in. Like 40% out, 60% in. We lost 60% of our entries. Thank you very much to the Cincinnati Bengals for losing.
But New Orleans,
I don't know why we didn't pick the Saints.
It's going to be so bad, Carolina.
They're pathetic. how we didn't just every single week just bet against the
I honestly think we should do that from now on.
I don't know what we're doing.
Whoever Carolina's playing, we should just
go all in. Well, we have to take some chances now.
Chase played, didn't he? Too.
He played. Not that it looked like he played. I'm like, why do something?
And the Packers got lucky. It looks like it's only 3 to 4 weeks for Jordan Love. So
Dodged the bullet.
Thank God for that one. All right, let's go back over to the desk with Sharif and Brendo.
All right, a couple other things of note here this morning. Eli Lilly just popping up in front of me again. That one's up as well. We'll talk about that in a second. Here's Boeing, though. As a 15-minute chart, back above last week's resistance levels here, trying to hold. Although we are kind of teetering right now along that support level, 164, 163 and a half. Reports, I guess, suggesting that this strike may be averted, which is going to be a positive, obviously, for Boeing. Another one that basically went out on the lows heading into the weekend here, but it's worth noting, I guess, not a lot of volume behind this yet.
Not yet, Brendo. And a good first move for the new CEO, Kelly Ortberg. We'll have to see what the situation is. So here's the deal. They're going to get 25% raise. It's going to be over 4 years. There's going to be healthcare costs and retirement benefits are going to be included as part of the new collective bargaining agreement. And it's a commitment from Boeing to continue to build the planes in the Pacific Northwest. They don't want the plant moved elsewhere. It's got to be approved by workers still, Brendo, and the date for the vote, September 12th.
Completely unrelated. I was reading this morning, though, I hope no one's traveling in this country for the next couple of weeks here, because I read a headline this morning that said Air Canada preparing for shutdown.
Oh, that's lovely.
The pilots rejected that 30% pay hike, and I mean, unrelated to Boeing, but out for Air Canada. Thoughts on Boeing here, guys, trying to bounce off that resistance from last week?
I was just telling Sean, my wife has a trip this week. She's on business, so I don't even know if she's flying Air Canada. It doesn't really matter. And a lot of times these things get averted, so it's probably not going to happen. But good news for Boeing. I think the more important thing for Boeing is that it managed to get back. It looked like it was going to be really bad if they didn't get this done, at least looking at where they were in the chart. Oh, my goodness. You had a double bottom at 160, and we're sort of thinking, if you couldn't hold back above this, because when you broke on Friday, if you couldn't hold back above this 160, it was going to get nasty. So it did make that break in the afternoon. You saw it flush a couple of bucks once it was through that low, and now you're gapping back above. What I like about this, you just regained support. I mean, I like this as long as they can hold on to the Thursday close. Always look to that prior resistance level or support levels. And in this case, the bottom at 160 is a little far away. You have Thursday's close at 162.5. I think if it can hold on to that, you had Wednesday's close at 163. That gives a nice target area. Boeing holds above this level. To me, that's going to be a hold of the 52-week low area. And if it gets back to the 50 period, that's about all you can ever hope for with this stock. Because unfortunately for Boeing, it is treating the major moving averages like an absolute brick wall on the daily chart. So any moves, hopefully you just can get there and see if we can punch through. But I like the long and Boeing today. All it has to do is hold that 62.5 to 63 area off the open, and I'm looking longs on Boeing. It's been a hot minute.
I just want we were just talking about Air Canada. So Air Canada is going to be, like Delta American Airlines, I guess, is probably a good example. But there it comes right down into the downside again. So Air Canada, if strike not averted, I mean, you are going to be and are at, these lows right now for AC. So, you would think that lowering rates might be able to help some of the airlines, especially in the retail spot, making flights more affordable. People can put on their credit cards as well as the debt that these companies carry as well here. Air Canada, nice downside move. Fuel's getting a lot cheaper in this country, I noticed, oil's getting a lot cheaper everywhere. Breaking through 15 might be a little bit of a problem spot here for Air Canada. I mean, not a great stock. This last year at this time, Air Canada was $23. Today it's $15. So you could definitely try to pick some up down here if you wanted to. Air Canada right now, an interesting name that I don't really ever look at, but I'm sure it's in some kind of mutual fund I own.
Yeah, tough situation for anyone that's got travel plans coming up here. Sure. My brother-in-law is away right now, and sister-in-law is away right now. So then they flew on Air Canada, so they're kind of panicking. But we'll see what happens over the next couple of days here. ARM was the other one we mentioned briefly there. Nice positive note. That's Boeing still. Nice positive note for ARM here. reports suggesting that Apple is going to use ARM's platform and technology for chip design in the new iPhone. So ARM getting a nice pop here, just actually right now taking out day highs.
Absolutely, Brendo. This is another licensing partnership here for ARM. They're already doing it with Google. They're already doing it with Nvidia, and they're already actually doing it with Apple because they're using it on the M4. The MacBook Pro processors are already ARM-based, featuring ARM's new design. It's called the V9. It's the first time, though, the V9 is going to be included in the mobile phone, so we'll see.
Yeah, this one could run into a little bit of a challenge around 123, 124, but nice start to the day here anyways for ARM.
Oh, I'll say so. Look, we always talk about major moving averages, and I feel like lately it's been in the wrong way. You've been resisting. Boeing was an example that we just showed. On Friday, all last week we were talking about the S&P 500 sort of losing its 50 period and the Brescher ledge getting broken. Well, all quietly ARM has done is managed to bounce nicely off the 200 period once, and now it's making an attempt to do it twice with a bit of a catalyst. I'm not going to pretend. I don't think the Apple news is not a gigantic surprise to anybody, but it is a pretty solid catalyst. And I know I can't frame the move on Friday to look like a strong day for ARM, but I just juxtapose the move on ARM to say, like Nvidia was much weaker the last week or two. Just a quick look. I mean, AMD, a little bit weaker. I just felt like ARM was holding up a little bit better. Like it would find levels of consolidation, and now you essentially, like it was holding the line around 122 pretty decently. It even had an up day on Thursday for a recovery day when the other chips weren't even all that good. But I do like this one bouncing off the 200 period moving average, and I like the longs for this week, as long as it holds on to the 200 period moving average. So you've done the nice little wipeout bottom, or whatever you want to call it, on Friday. I think the higher low puts you at, 122 is more of a, it's not a great level. It's like this nice barometer back and forth. I think you got to look at the 120. That's where most of the support has been. If we end up just straight breaking out 125, I feel like I will have missed an opportunity to get into ARM. So I'm just thinking trend above 120. That can mean VWAP. It can mean the 120 itself off of the open. Doesn't always do the most volume. So I think you want to let this one ride. But when ARM starts trending, you want to be able to get into it early. I don't know how much the Apple event is going to mean anything given this headline today, but probably worth keeping an eye open if you're in position on this at 1 o'clock or after 1 o'clock. Anything Apple related, you're going to want to be able to adjust your plan because you might see some crazy moves. But I'm looking long today on ARM. It held up pretty nicely, I felt, relative to some of the other chip names the last few days of last week.
I'm not in much cash. I wish I was in a lot more, but you guys know that we've been selling a little bit. And the only name that I bought on Friday, I was sitting there at the hockey game and I was like, you know what, let's see what happens. And I bought some Nvidia. So, we got some around the lunchtime there on Friday. This is the name that I think I want to be in as far as the chip names. I just want to be in the best name. I don't know if it's going to be a name to hide out in or not, but you're down almost 40%. Its high was 140 down to 103. So you're down 35% here and pretty much in a straight line and not looking super healthy. I think it's a little oversold. We'll wait. I was actually not going to really trade Apple or ARM or any of the event-related names today, but if they move, we'll still be there. Interested to see what happens today with Apple and ARM and the chip space. Nvidia at that $100 mark, and we've sort of gone over AMD there. There's so many names. Intel's, was Intel below 19 right now? I don't even, it's at 19 exactly. Yeah. So it's right here right now. Lots of opportunity today at key levels.
All right, there he is, Michael Noss, joining us with a look at a couple of things on a Monday morning. Hope you had a nice weekend. Going into what's going to be an important couple of weeks here ahead of the Fed coming up next week. We get some inflation data this week. We get Apple today. Worst week of the year last year. Overall, though, if you zoom out here, and you're going to touch on this a little bit more in depth, if you zoom out, we're still more or less in the range as far as the overall market is concerned. Tell us why.
Yeah, so I think we can go just right to the first chart I have. I've been kind of pound the table on this one a little bit while you were gone, I think a lot, Brendan, but I just wanted to bring this back, especially in the light of what happened on Friday. I saw so many Black Monday tweets that it just made me so aggressively want to buy. But basically where we are in this chart is right at the top of this last peak in that kind of September timeframe. So what this chart is you take all of the election years, which we're in right now, and you kind of average them and you say, okay, let's take all the times that the S&P 500 existed for the election years from 1950 until this point, 2020, what generally happens in each month and each time of year. And from September, you can see that's the very top, and we have this choppy downward path until November. So I've been saying for a very long time that this is how I'm kind of viewing the market, and this is how I'm going to be playing the market, in which it looks like, according to the seasonality, we have some more downside to go, maybe September into October. It doesn't mean that I think it's going to be the end of the world or a new bear market or anything like that, just that the market right now is a little bit undecided. And then after, you can see regardless of who gets elected, so it's not a politics thing, in November, you generally get this upward push into the end of the year, this November, December, and then into next year as well. It's the whole, people say it all the time, it's the market like certainty. And right now, you don't know who's going to be running the ship. So it's really hard to be certain in directions. So, just that's how I'm kind of looking at things. Now, so what I do on days like we saw on Friday, where we had a pretty bloody down day across the board. On my next slide here, I have, you've probably seen this a lot. I've given this to Sean as well. He shows in the after hour show. This is just my heat map of everything that happened in the world on Friday. You can see a whole lot of red and only one green symbol. So that makes it very, very easy for me to focus on and to take a look at whatever is up on the day as someone who likes to trade long when I can. UNG, very strong. Everything else in the world was incredibly weak. So let's take a look at UNG. I think I have a potential trade that we're going to take a look at here. So first of all, I just wanted to show, this is a monthly chart going back to natural gas. Funny, that giant spike. I remember that was the Russia-Ukraine invasion. Everyone's saying, right, natural gas is going to be super huge. Turns out that wasn't a thing at all. I also have this trade wave on, which is the new indicator that we have a trade ideas that kind of keeps you in the direction of the trend. Obviously had a big sell as it started to crash and hasn't triggered a buy yet, but the indicator I have on the bottom is Williams %R. Shout out to Larry Williams, one of the greats indicator inventors. This is an overbought, oversold indicator, and the absolute bottom of this is negative 100, and we're sitting at like negative 95. So we really can't get too much in the oversold territory in UNG. So the next slide, we'll zoom into the weekly chart and just kind of show that this area was an interesting zone before. And I highlighted last week's action and then the week that we had this last pop. If you remember, I was talking about this, I remember on the after hours show with Sean, that I liked UNG if we could bounce off this $14-ish zone. Got that bounce. I took that trade. That was a very great trade. And then it reversed. So you had to be quick to kind of get out and take your money on it. But we're back at this 14-ish area and a nice strong week. So not only was it strong on Friday, which is what the heat map showed, but it was pretty strong all week when the market was weak all week. So retaking that $14, it could be that there's some sellers trapped under this $14 area and the buyers could be playing on this one. So if we go into the daily chart and take a look at, again, we mentioned this new trade wave indicator. So this is a moving average based indicator that generates buy and sell signals and says, hey, we're above all your moving averages and those moving averages are pointing up. If you're a trend trader, you should look to take along here and then get involved until this one switches. That triggered on Friday as well. So more of a potential evidence that this $14 area is going to be very important. Now, there's two ways to take this trade. One, if you're just a purely daily chart only person, would be, you look for some continuation. I looked in the pre-market, we were down a little bit on natural gas, but if it breaks Friday's high, that could be an interesting trade with your stop just below wherever this pullback was in the low 13s. But myself, just the final chart here, I'm going to zoom into the 30-minute chart. I took this one this morning. You can see a sell signal was triggered, so it's kind of telling me to stay away. And we're selling off a little bit in the pre-market session. So I'm just going to wait. I'm going to watch every 30 minutes or so. And if we get a buy signal on that, I think that's going to be my opportunity to take a trade. I'm going to put my stop well below that swing low in the daily chart, see if we get another move on natural gas. Now, I just want to preface, it feels like it's funny. I always give this warning when it's a biotech or natural gas, right? They call this thing the Widowmaker for a reason. So if you're going to participate in trading this thing, just understand I always take like a third of my normal size. I would rather trade Bitcoin bigger than I'd trade natural gas. So just be careful there.
That's saying a lot. And again, we have to kind of go back to the initial thought here in that if this is the chop in the overall market going into November and going into the election before we get some sort of clarity, just a trade doesn't mean anyone has to, jump into it. Just an idea to throw out there to get us from now to then.
Yeah, and exactly. You notice most of the trades I do these are things that I think are going to continue for a bit of a long run. This is more of I think this may have found some support and we might get a couple weeks of a bounce. And that's the play that I'm doing more in this environment, because if, based off that first chart, we're going to have this downward, choppy, violent action, I just want to be buying support, selling resistance, just staying involved until after this election mess is over. And then hopefully we get that seasonality of November, December being a pretty nice bull market.
One of those times drilling down to specifically just technicals kind of is driving the market. So great stuff as always. Michael Moss back on the recap after the close tonight. We'll see you then.
Talk to you then.
Yes, sir. Michael, we'll see you for sure. The Widowmaker, what's interesting about that is we were actually we were talking about that on Friday with Ryan Faluna aftermarket, because there was a question about Boyle in the aftermarket chat. Right. I'm only chuckling because that is exactly what he said. He's like, understand it's the Widowmaker and it can get you into some trouble with its volatility and you got to bank your wins, because when it's in a downtrend, it takes a lot for that downward trend to break. But thank you very much, Michael, for that look. We'll definitely look forward to you in the aftermarket show. I was going through some things, let's just say, and one of them that I actually noticed was, Bitcoin's up slightly. It's just hanging on the 55,000 level, basically barely on the 55,000 level. I'm not pretending it's making a huge move, but I was looking at that Boeing and then the fact that it held onto a bottom, and I remembered, oh yeah, Coinbase hasn't had an update in forever. If we're going to hold 55,000, I was looking at this coin trying to hold $150 here as another name that just couldn't catch a bid on Friday. it was all red candles here on a 15-minute chart. I think you had like 3 or 4 the entirety of the session that were even able to hold green. But actually, if you're going to get a rebound kind of day, the 150 was resistance in the afternoon at about 1 o'clock. That looks like a nice little over-under. And then the other one that usually like a little bit more, you've got Mara hanging on dearly to this 13 level. Pretty much that August bottom at $13.50 has come right back into play. It was afternoon resistance, and that looks like a nice little interesting go zone that I might add to my list. If we're going to get a bounce relief day, if Bitcoin can hold at 55,000, Mara that 13.5, Coinbase that 150. I'm thinking Mara maybe a little bit more here, but should be watching some crypto as well. A relief rally when these haven't even had up days in the last 2 weeks should bode pretty well for them.
Yeah, I have Mara written on the sticky note here today. So I'm going to, if Bitcoin can hold 55,000, we've seen it rally quite nicely, and we've seen this name come off the bottom a few times as well. 8 straight down days, finally trying to get back upside. Holding that 1350 would be fantastic. I look at possibly a break here. I wrote down 1420 just into this area. We poked our head above it early on Friday. I think if we could just take this area out right into here, that's 1420. To me, that's going to be a go zone. I'm actually getting the market orders ready to go. So if we could take that out in and around this area, I like it. You got to watch out for that 1430. If you really want to be super conservative, that's probably a play. I just think 1420, if we break that, we definitely test there. So that gives me 15 cents, which is about the target where I'd try to get out if we were wrong, maybe 1390. So I feel like taking 30 cents worth of risk, taking out some at the top, and then seeing if you're right. Maybe you get to 1480 or so into this area, 70s, 80s, something like that, up to 15. So I think Mara has a good chance of working today. And I think I want to be there for that long. Let's see if it holds. Up 2.5% right now, looking to take this out. I'll be here for that. There's 1420. I'm fine with that. I will have that as a long. So that's It's one trade. And yeah, Coinbase.
Ooh, boy.
I remember Adam mentioned to me, he's like, oh man, why didn't you short that 178? What is even, yeah, it's only at 150 now, but it got as low as 146. So you're going to have to watch out for that bottom coming through. I mean, that was a pretty crazy day. I even said to Neil, I was like, what in the world? Like, this was a money-making opportunity if you had that short instinct there on Friday. Like, boom, Tesla dropped $20.
So many things.
Straight down. Like, this move rate breaking right through here, taking this low right there on Friday, 227, really, like not like 9:37, 9:35 in the morning. What a crazy name trade that would have been, just continuing to go down. So we'll look at some Tesla rebound today. But on that note, it's upgrade and downgrade time.
JetBlue here with an upgrade from BofA Securities to kick things off this week. They did provide an operational update last week that was pretty well received by the market. X here, US Steel, getting an upgrade from JP Morgan Chase. So that name continues to be on watch here. Roblox with an upgrade from BTIG Research, and Oppenheimer upgrading NASDAQ as well. On the downgrade side here, we have Fox getting a downgrade from Seaport Research Partners, Deutsche Bank downgrading Colgate-Palmolive, this one down about 1% right now. Huntington Ingalls Industries getting this downgrade from JP Morgan Chase, and last but not least, Church & Dwight being downgraded by Morgan Stanley. Upgrade side today, pretty interesting, guys.
Yeah, Roblox is one. I mean, look, everything had a bad day on Friday. Like, pretty much everything had a bad day on Friday, but what was that?
He keeps, Fabian keeps hitting the Roblox sound.
Oh, okay, gotcha. I could barely make it out because there's like some news coming on Benzinga. But Roblox had a significant bounce on Friday midday. So like almost everything was having a rough go of it. And then right about 1 o'clock, you had Roblox basically just run like $1.50 to end up closing more or less flat. I mean, most things were to the downside. It closed, I think, almost exactly flat on the day, and then now up that 1%, catching a little bit of an upgrade. I think that's the good news. The bad news, if there is technically bad news, would be you're still in this consolidation. It hasn't broken away just yet. So on the daily chart, let me get rid of some of these lines. That downward trend doesn't matter anymore. That support line's valid, but who cares? But really, Roblox, it looks good holding this consolidation. It's got to break $45 even, and I think you're good to go at that point. What up, Randy? Do we get the... Ooh.
Still waiting for something else, though.
Oh, snap.
What?
Here. Boom.
Thank you, Randy.
Thanks, Randy.
I was even just talking about your Tesla there, too. How's your coffee, Randy?
It looks and smells delicious, and I feel like I'm getting warmth off of it as well. My hands are freezing.
Yeah, it's pretty cold around here, that's for sure. Coffee? It could be, yeah.
I would be more than happy to have a coffee. Yes, all kinds of.
So,
what are we buying with this dollar?
Maybe an apple fritter. How much are apple fritters? Like $1.75, I think they are, aren't they? You get a little American action. What, $1 US worth 1.35 or so Canadian right now.
270.
So I'm out of that. My Roblox trade is concluded because it was a whole seasonality play, and that seasonality was kids being off school. And although that's not stopping, kids from playing Roblox, that's for sure. But right now, no, going to school? No.
Oh no, yeah,
it's not at all. Yeah. So right down in there, $34, $35. That's where we took this trade, breaking higher here. We are now out in and around this area. We've been getting it out, man. I mean, we talked about that, and thankfully it didn't suffer the last. We're not out of every. We're out of the trade as a trade, but I'm still holding some Roblox. I always want to hold the core position. This name actually looks super strong. I mean, all the rest of the names. I mean, every name we talk about here over the last two weeks, a month, has been hit pretty good. Roblox still remains near this top and looking to break out, actually. So I still really like it. We're out of it as a trade. So basically 35, it's 35 and change by the time we figured out our prices, up to 44. So it's about 35% in a couple months. So that was a good trade. Now we'll wait to see if we get more of a breakout here. We're holding probably about 15% or so. So we'll wait to see if Roblox continues to work.
Hey, Sean. Let's get into the overall market here to kick things off at 9 o'clock.
We're going to look at 54.18 as the closing print, guys, from Friday, that big down day. We were able to defend 5400, but we're well above it right now, 54.18, the closing print. But you can see here, back in July, double bottom right at the area where we're at now, 54.50, acting as that level of resistance. If we do clear 54.50, then we're looking at 5500 as support. If we don't clear it, we're looking back at 5400 as 5500 as resistance, 5400 as support.
All right, if you are joining for the... I have free stuff for you. Go down to the description of this video. There is a link there that will take you to the watch list sign-up page. Enter your email address, and then we do your homework for you. It's that easy. Everything you need to know in one spot, delivered right to your inbox every single morning. On the watch list for free. Top of that watch list this morning is not ARM, but we will get to ARM. Here's Palantir taking out the highs right now. In fact, they're testing them anyways, back to 33 bucks after the close on Friday. We learned that not only PLTR, but Dell as well going into the S&P.
So obviously this is good news for all of them, as all the ETFs that track the S&P 500 are going to have to buy Palantir and Dell in order to be able to track it properly. So just to give you guys an idea, here are the inclusion requirements, or some of, to get into the S&P. A market cap of 15.8 billion, high trading volume, listing on either the NYSE or the NASDAQ, and you got to be primarily listed in the U.S. Brendo should be good here with respect to volume.
Yeah, big move here, guys. Almost 9% now, 8.75% here for Palantir so far.
I have a tick on Palantir. I mean, it hasn't broken the 52-week high. There's just like this dark pool tick that's above it. I have it as like 33.13. My concern for Palantir isn't necessarily a today thing. It's when they get added on the 23rd. Because, I mean, look, their PE and all that stuff and the metrics are going to say it's expensive, and we saw what happened to SMCI. So I think the rally's into it, and once that hits on the 23rd, I think that might turn into a sell event for them and Dell. But Palantir's chart's very different from Dell's chart. We'll get to Dell in a quick little second. 33.13 is the is the 52-week high. It's poised to break that out. The other thing to consider is if you look back, last time it was there, your next day, well, even that day, you had two levels. You had 32.40 on any kind of a dip, and then you had the end of that day, which was like down around like 31.8 or so. On any kind of dip, I'm just looking at those levels from the last time it failed the 33 level. If you don't get a breakout, it's 32.40 and 31.80 that look like the go zones. Dell's chart, as I said, is very, very different to Palantir's, in that it's been in a pretty hefty downward trend as opposed to an upward trend recently. So Dell is almost like a relief kind of rally thing. On the daily chart, it needs to get past $110. Like, yeah, sure, fine, hold on to 107, maybe there's something, but it needs to get past 110 bucks to break it back out. There's been a lot of resistance on this thing, and even at the 113, 114, it's got more resistance. But that 110, the 200-period moving average on the daily, it's the first area of resistance here going back into Wednesday of last week. Dell's got some work to do. There's a big difference between trying to break out from 50% off of your highs, and then there's breaking 52-week highs. Very, very different looking name.
All right, we'll just go bang, bang, bang. So Palantir here for most of us, hopefully is like a three-bagger right now. You're up to $33. First getting long this name and talking all about it at $9, then buying the dips and just talking continuously about Palantir, and there it is right now. It's going to be your number one trade, breaking through 52-week high of 33.10. So if we can get through that, I think this is a huge opportunity to trade this long. I don't know how it's going to react on September 23rd when it gets added, but I feel like today it's good. The only risk, with taking this trade is that it was just here, and we had some resistance for a while, and then it just came back in. So I do like the breakout. Like, I'd almost rather it be starting a little bit lower. It's going to open up right at 33.10, so it's going to be a little tough to sort of hit that break long, because I feel like it's going to hit soon. Like, there's already 10,000 shares or 100,000 shares right here on edge. So like, this is an active stock, 3 million shares. It's going to break through 33. It just keeps on creeping higher. That bottom's 32.60. That could come into play right off the open. The last time I checked, there was a buy imbalance, and there still is. So there's $1 million right there. There's $1 million on the bid, so that's sort of falsifying this upside a little bit. I don't know. It's making me a little. The order's still in. I'm not going to take it in the pre-market, so I don't think I'll get into it. But at the end of the day, this is what it is right now. It's Palantir. It's ripping higher. I think it's a little foolish not to take that trade, so I'll probably take it small, even in the pre-market. But I really like the stock, man. I mean, breaking higher. I think if we're going to be wrong, you want to give this $1 down to 32. I mean, that could be a level there. But like, again, it's air up there, like from 30 to 33 where we are right now. It's the gap. So you may fill it back a little bit and test back into $32. So that's the risky spot there on Palantir. You don't want to lose $500. Don't trade 500 shares. But if you're here to trade, then I think it's a great opportunity. All right, salute. How was Friday, by the way? Was it any good?
You had to capture some shorts. Let's put it this way. There was a lot of bamboozlement on the long side because everything was breaking out.
Bamboozlement.
Early. I know. I've been using it.
Oh my God.
On purpose. I said this last week. I'm stealing stuff from Sharif, and that's the new one. I don't say weasel as much, but I'm using bamboozlement a little bit more. No, on Friday you had some longs early that were really breaking out when we got the update on unemployment. And the reversals were hefty, and if you were able to grab something great, I was able to get enough to get it back to flat. But believe me, that was one heck of a psych out. Like if you were watching Tesla was like one of the strongest stocks for about 40 minutes, and then just a big dump off that 235 zone. And we're going to talk Tesla actually right now because I'm not sure I care about the China sales. The price action on Friday is telling me what to do.
Rundown this morning brought to you by our friends at Moomoo. They're shaking up the investing game with its cash sweep program, offering an incredible 8.1% APY on uninvested cash, far surpassing typical stock returns. This all-in-one app backed by the NASDAQ and SEC ensures your funds are safe with FDIC insurance up to $500,000. Your cash earns interest 24/7, and you can access it any time to reinvest when the market turns. Plus, sign up now. Snag 15 free stocks and bonuses up to $2,300 in Canada. Don't let your money sit idle. Make it work for you. Yeah, let's talk Tesla here. We get the monthly sales report, or was it the registration report from China? Anyway, pretty ugly day regardless on Friday for Tesla. Goes out on the lows along with the overall market. We give back the prior 2 and change days going into the weekend there for Tesla, but up 2.5 here this morning.
So Elon, looking to contradict some of the main reporting here, basically saying that the Shanghai factory is operating at full capacity, and Tesla was able to sell almost 87,000 China-made EVs in August, which is a 17% increase from July and a 3% increase year over year. There was a different little Tesla headline, though, here over the weekend. It had to do with XAI, which is his AI company. So apparently Elon wants some of the artificial intelligence technology from XAI to be paid for by Tesla, funneling revenue from one company that he runs to another, kind of creating a little bit of controversy here, but obviously a good look for Tesla.
I'm sure they're going to use a lot of the technology across both platforms, so it makes some sense. Session highs here, guys, definitely stronger than the market so far for Tesla.
Well, I mean, no question about it. Like, of course they're going to use that technology at Tesla. I mean, I don't know that people are going to always love that kind of like commingling, but as said, there was a big rejection of 235 on Tesla. If you saw that level on Friday, the way that it screamed down, unless you were like it looks like this is the open, but believe me, this was a few minutes before the open when it started fading the 235, and the first candle of the day was a 233.5 on a 3-minute chart to a 228. So it was a quick $5 move to the downside off of that level. I got 222. The problem with Tesla is it's basically diddling in the middle right now for me. 50 period and all that good stuff, forget that. 222 and then 210 where it broke out Wednesday and where it settled on Friday. You're too much diddling in the middle. I think that sets up 15 for like an over-under. Hey, if we're trending above 215, then it's longs into 225. If we're trending underneath 215, then play it into 210. But yeah, this is too much diddling in the middle for me here on Tesla. One name that I always talk about this every single time we go into the EV names is going to be Rivian. It's a little bit closer to, if you're going to have a relief day, it's closer to its 13 support than Tesla is to its. Like I look at Rivian on the daily chart and you just see the only place that anybody's been buying this thing is in front of $13, and it's at 13 1/3. I think this sets up a little bit better to give you some of the longs off the 13 level where it bounced on Friday once again. Clearly, there's somebody buying the stock down here at $13 on Rivian. Until they stop doing that, that's pretty much the only safe place to go long that evening.
I'm just, I had to reload the software because I'm testing another piece of software today. But I'll show you quickly here for what I thought about Tesla, and then Neil just talked about the chart, so you can have a quick look back here. It's going to be on the sticky note again today as a stock number 2. I like a 218 break. I think break into that close from Thursday is really nice with the China data. So I really like Tesla, and here comes my software is starting to load up right now. Here it is. So we can show you just real quick. So Tesla, again, you're already at 217. My only problem here as we think about what the market's going to do is what is the market going to do? This could be just sort of some window dressing before we slap this thing right back down to the downside, in which case you don't want to be stuck long anything. We just talked about Tesla being down $20 there on Friday. Pretty disastrous day, right off the open. That just means we can make it back. That's 217, this little clogged up area right into here. This is this 218 area that we're sort of talking about. So I was thinking about this take. Like, let's let it sort of get upside there. If we could take this out, that's 218. That top right there is 220. So yeah, I think you have $2 before you have to make a decision. That's 220. So 218 long break. I like that trade. I think it can continue to work right there. And if you go back over to Thursday, this is what I'm talking about. This is where we were closing there on Thursday at 218. So we actually made a nice little run up at the end, pulled back in this area, some support from Thursday. So I think Tesla has a chance to work today. If we could take down that 218, might happen early, and you might have an absolute monster. If the market continues to move today, like upside, then Tesla's going to be huge. So do you want to be in it or not? Let's wait to see what happens with Tesla.
All right, let's go on to Apple here, coming up with their GLOWTIME event today. We'll get the iPhone 16. We'll also get more details on Apple Intelligence going to be released down the road a little bit. But iPhone 16 coming, ARM apparently going to be the chosen platform for new iPhones going forward.
Yeah, interesting look here. That V9 processor, Brendo, that's their new processor, and that's already being used in the M4 MacBook. So already some experience there. First time going to be used in the iPhone. Huawei, though, coming out overnight, and this is well, not overnight. They actually released this on Saturday. This is their new phone, the Mate XT, and it's a tri-foldable phone, as you can see there, with 2 hinges, and it basically opens up to be a bit of a tablet. They got 2.7 million orders, and the pre-orders began Saturday, Brendo. Scheduled shipping starting on September 20th. Separately, though, with respect to Apple's event today, very interesting here, coming out of Wedbush, basically saying that his data, well, Danny Ives is what I'm referring to here, basically saying that his data is that the expected shipments are higher for the iPhone 16, about 90 million units, and then expecting about 240 million units to sell by the end of fiscal 2025. We'll have to wait and see. Big numbers here and big projections.
Typically a sell the news type of event when we get these launches from Apple, but already selling off a little bit here, guys, just back to Friday's lows.
I think we've seen this rodeo before. There's going to be 2 days for Apple today. There's going to be going into 1 o'clock, and there's going to be after 1 o'clock, and we'll actually call it 3, and then there's after the event is done. But Apple, it has been faring in a lot of ways better than some of the Mag 7 names, but the 50 period, as you can see here on the daily, 222.5. This has just been like 3 consecutive days. Actually, check that, 4 consecutive days where you either are closing or opening and holding that line. Actually, check it. You can even call it 5. And that 50 period's been that over-under brick wall. Like, it's running away from it to the upside, running away from it to the downside. So that's going to end up being resistance early on today. That 225 zone. Anybody can sit there and look at 222.5. Anybody can look at 225 and see the resistance. If I think Apple is the stock that has an inside day till 1 o'clock, then to me that means you want to play off the obvious support that's here just underneath the 220. If it gets to 225 before we get to 1 o'clock, that's a fade. I just don't see it breaking out before the event. We'll see what happens. I don't even know if it can get there today, but the market looks pretty strong. I mean, the market started off pretty strong. We're almost a full percent to the upside. So I think there's a possibility that it can get there before the event. If that's the case, I would fade it at $225 on Apple. And then you have to sort of play it by ear at 1 o'clock. Once the event starts, you want to be with the trend. And I look for reversals of whatever the move is when they finish.
All right. Yeah, I sort of talked about this when we talked about the ARM situation that we had.
Oh, I forgot about
I don't think that we're going to be super exciting here today with Apple. Down, flat on the day, basically. You know, this 219 area could be supported. That's 220 actually. So a little bit of a drip down. I mean, just looking here on the 20-minute chart, I think you just keep going long until it breaks, but I think it will break. You know, it's going to be a relatively non-event. I mean, I think we already know what's happening. Everyone's waiting to hear about how many units they'll sell. Is this going to be a super cycle or not? Is the consumer strong or not? Do they have $1,300, $1,400, $1,500 for these new phones? I mean, Huawei seems to be putting the deals through. Let's see if Apple can do the same thing. I don't know if there's any early release numbers on what the Pixel's been doing, but I just feel like there are so many. Look, Apple, did you know that the Apple iPhone, if it was its own standalone business, would be the 12th largest business? So it's just like one of those things, they're 12th largest company. So take that for what it's worth, man. This is going to be something special. It's just a matter of, do they sell the phones? And everyone thinks they will. That leads me to believe it's a crowded trade. So I've been selling some. I mean, we talked about, I got some out there at 225, and I'm pretty happy doing that. I think you just settle down. It probably runs into the next quarter, but I think this is a sell the event rather than buy.
It's no. I mean, Sharif and I were just saying, like the telecoms are even saying, like there's not enough, or not. No one's doing it yet. They're all waiting for the new one. I mean, there's differing opinions here. There was a note from Jefferies this morning saying double-digit iPhone growth on the 16 may be quote unquote too aggressive. So. I mean, there's a lot of mixed opinions, I think, on.
And you got to agree with that type of analysis because the consumer's a bit squeezed. I mean, we've seen retail sales drop off, so you're absolutely right.
All right, Boeing giving back a lot here. We did get a nice gap higher with the overall market here for BA, but right back down to essentially almost where we started, 162.5, 163. Reports suggesting they could be able to divert or get away from the possibility of a strike here, which would be massively positive.
Absolutely, Brendo. This company's already had trouble enough this year. Kelly Ortberg getting a nice win here in his first little while as a CEO. So here's the deal, 25% raise for the workers over 4 years, additional healthcare costs and retirement benefits, and a commitment from Boeing to stay in the Pacific Northwest. The tentative agreement must be approved still by the workers, and they're going to vote on it hopefully on the 12th.
Yeah, I was saying I was just reading there, by the 13th. So we should know definitively, guys, by the 13th here for Boeing.
Hopefully they get it done. I mean, you always want to see these things get settled, but Boeing just needs the good press or some kind of positive news here. Daily chart's a mess. Obviously, everyone knows that, but the 52-week low did get breached. It was a flat bottom breakdown late in the day on Friday. It was able to hold on and now gap above some of those lows. So I always say when you break a low like that, prior support kind of comes back into play. I don't know if it's going to get all the way down to 158. So there's your 158 level where it broke and there was the resistance. If it gets to that price, fair enough. That would be that technical level that I would like. But until that happens, I got to look at Thursday's close. Like Thursday, 162 quarter. I put 162 half, but it's 162 quarter technically. And right in that zone is where it failed on Friday, right at the open. It needs to bounce off this level. That's going to be a big key. If you can't hold on to Thursday's close, then to me you get that retest of the 158. So that's a wide gap. It has to hold this at the open, and then it looks good for some longs back in. Boeing, decent volume. It's not through the roof right now, but solid volume. This is usually a stock that you want to let it play out at 9:30 in the first few minutes, not just sort of sit out there in the ether because the spread's going to be big and you can get wiped out, stopped out quickly. You just want to see it hold the level and then try to break higher on Boeing. But I'm looking for longs as long as it can be above 62. And if you lose that, you wait for the 158.
So again, last week we talked about raising some capital. We did that. We sold some Starbucks up there at 94.95 off that 98 top. We sold some Nike as well. I think it was 84.85. I'll have to double check where that price is, what that's looking at. But Starbucks right there. And again, we were not here Friday, but look what it did. It broke that little support area there. So you're falling off $92 right now for Starbucks. This name probably retraces back up. This was way too big of a move for Brian Nickel. I thought it was anyways, $21 billion. To the top side and actually added close to 24 billion when we got into $98, $99. Nice fade off of that. We actually zoomed this back out and showed you that there was a $100 top multiple times on this name. So I feel pretty good about this one heading to the downside here again, maybe today. So if you don't want to look somewhere tech, this 92 right there, you know, a pretty good level to consider, right? We held it forever, made that move back for some reason to 99. And then there's the drop down. Now you've had a couple bad days in a row here. We'll see if Starbucks can hold $92. So that would be a level there to look at in case you were wondering about other names. And then, yeah, so Nike must have been 84, 85 or something last week. Yeah, so that makes sense. So this name again as well, getting very, very close to breaking a key level of 80. So I think you got to watch out for that. Fill the gap, right? Failed that, got halfway back. Now you're starting to turn around there on Nike. So I've been pretty bearish on some of these names just because of the moves that they've had. And I think that if someone's going to sell something other than tech, they probably start to do this, sell some of these big winners out of nowhere, especially like, you know, we're not in the Christmas season yet. The back to school season's over. So I think it's a sell-off situation here for some of the retail names. We'll see.
We'll wrap things up here with crypto trying to bounce once again off 55, 56,000. We're heading higher here for the past couple of days, but not a huge range. You and I were just discussing the matter that maybe this is a little bit of front running ahead of an anticipated Fed rate cut coming up next week. I was reading another note this morning that was pointing towards 50 basis points versus 25.
Yeah, the market really is putting pressure on the Fed here to respond to the economic data as opposed to the data that it wants to respond to. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. Obviously, next week, keep the 16th, is it?
I believe Thursday, I believe. Wednesday or Thursday?
Okay.
Wednesday.
So we'll keep an eye on that, Brendo. Yeah.
Wednesday.
Yeah. All right. So here's the deal with the outflows, because there was significant outflows out of these spot ETFs for Bitcoin, and they experienced their longest daily streak of outflows since inception. $1.2 billion was pulled out of these ETFs in the past 8 days. And Bitcoin's performance in September was not so good so far, already down 7%, Brendo.
Just be aware if anyone's watching Palantir, there's this BP note making the rounds again this morning, it looks like. This was out earlier, but deal with Palantir and BP on the AI side as well.
Keep making some deals. So look, Bitcoin, it got as low as 52.8 or a little bit lower than that over the weekend, and you've had a bit of a bottoming pattern happening here for the last couple of days over the weekend. Like I said, you're back above 55,000, so it looks like we're in a nice little upward trend. There has not been a green day on Mara and Coin. Like I'm not going to bother counting, but you guys can sort of see. Like you've had a couple of weeks of straight down. And now you get a bit of a bottoming pattern. There was a 52-week low break. The August 5th bottom there was $13.50. It's just been held on Mara and with resistance in the afternoon. I think longs above the 13.5. If you lose that 13.5, I think you're back into trouble again. But as long as you're above that, when you get wipeout bottoms like that, that prior resistance, that was support that was there before, when you got back above it, I look for that to be support there again. So that's what look for me on Mara. I want to see that 13.5 hold and just look for continuation longs. Probably 15 would be the spot that I think is the obvious area of resistance. And then Coinbase is a very similar look, and then the 150 level. If you like Coinbase better, the only difference is Coinbase busted through the August 5th low and is well underneath it, whereas Mara is holding a previous support level where there were buyers before, as opposed to Coinbase's, which the 150 kind of didn't matter for a long time.
I was going to show the imbalances, actually. So it's up to A there in the chat. Palantir right now with a 1.2 million imbalance there. IoT This was Mr. Andrew Rader's call, which has gone completely the other way. We'll talk to him about that when we can. But Dell right there with a nice buy as well. The two names that are being added, XPEV there, TSM as well, NIO $5, wowie. Okay, we were talking about that one at $4. That's at $5 right now, NIO. Look, on today's sticky note is Mara. So, you know, this note has been pretty good so far. We'll see if it continues to do that today. We've had some good trades off of here the last couple of days, but there it is right there, Mara, 1420 long. Let's just see if Bitcoin can hold 55. That's it. If it can, then I think Mara has a very, very good opportunity to get back to the upside. We sort of just talked about this. We talked about this earlier. We'll see about Big Patty Ice behind us, what he's thinking as well. But there's 1420 right there. I think we get a good opportunity to break that, and then we go longer on Mara. So let's just give it a shot. That's it right here. Break it higher. I understand that there's a 1435 overhang there. You could trade that if you like, but that's a good trade, I believe, anyways, for MARA. In and around a break a little bit higher there. If it supports levels, we'll find them when they come. Okay, so we just had NASDAQ imbalances come out, very, very uneventful. There is an Nvidia bid down here. As I said, the only name that I bought on Friday at all was Nvidia, and it wasn't even that big. I don't have too much cash lying around. But right there, nice move up right here for Nvidia on that buy imbalance. We'll see 104 pre-market highs right now for Nvidia. Yeah, I'm not really seeing too much else. Dell's going to be on people's minds there at 200,000, but it's Palantir's just growing a little bit here, 1.31. Again, the trade that I'm looking for is a Palantir break of 33.10. The only problem with it, like I said, I mean, I hold it back to 30. I mean, maybe 33.50. I'll probably have, I will have shares on it, so 50-cent hit is probably going to be good enough if we wind up losing on that. So 32.50, the bottom of the pre-market, that's probably something else. So, yeah, I'm not going under the mattress quite yet.
Sharif?
All right, guys, we're continuing the trend talk on how to trade today. Specifically, we'll get into channel lines as explained by John J. Murphy in his book, Fundamental Analysis or Technical Analysis of the Financial Markets. If you're into that kind of thing, check it out there, Darren and I, on How to Trade at 11.
Sharif, your Polestar is making some moves, by the way. There was a 1 million buy imbalance on Polestar. That is continuing its trend to the upside. So good for Polestar. Supposing you want to take some profit on that one. Anybody that's in that thing, who knows? Big Lots is going bankrupt. So it's a sell imbalance, but it's halted. So that's actually not going to matter today. I didn't see whether they're going to open that thing, and I was kind of hoping maybe they'd open it up, we get a chance to trade it and maybe fade, but did not see a resume time there. You might not get to see that stock until it goes to the OTC. Nvidia's up a point. You mentioned that 101 level that did hold successfully on Friday. You obviously can see the resistance in the afternoon. It was just over and over again at 103.5. That seems like a good dip zone for Nvidia. It is ARM because of the Apple thing and the way that it held up that I have my eyeballs on. I don't know if you're going to get a dip into 120 for that long, but I'm going to be on there at the open looking for that potential break. The only difference I have in Palantir is I like the actual 33.13 level, which is the 52-week high. If it does start to fill in the gap, there's 32.40 on the 15-minute, and then you got to go all the way to like 31.8. Into the downside. If it gets to like either of those two levels, then you're really filling in the gap. But those are the two places that I would look for that dip. We still have a couple of minutes in there. There is one name that we did not talk about. I saw the question in the chat about it. Google isn't part of my trade plan, but they do start that antitrust investigation, or I guess it's hearing today. They took it on the chin like everything else did on Friday. Worth noting, it was a big breakdown at 155 on Alphabet. Even if they get a rally with the market, the 200 period sits right there at about 156. If we do get a nice little relief rally, I'd be looking fade at the 200 period moving average the way Google is. But it's going to take quite an effort for it to get there. So that would be the look for me on Alphabet. Maybe you get a chance to trade off 150 again. That was a nasty, nasty looking move to the downside. It very rarely caught any bids on Friday for Alphabet. And I think if it gets a relief rally, you want to look to that 200 period moving average as a resistance spot.
Yeah, so many huge breaks there on Friday. You picked the best days to miss, but right there, 156. Yeah, if we can get back up to there. I wrote down watch out for 152. We're already over that level. So it looks like Google might have that chance to work out one more time here today. So I'm pretty sure this first trade I'll be into will be Palantir. Again, I like that 3240 area as the bottom. Come on, chart, switch over. Or that top break, right, of 3310. So we're going to take that trade as well. We've got Mara on our mind, so that one will happen through 1425. We've got Tesla on our mind through 218. Now, whether or not that hits or not, already up 3%. NASDAQ trying to have a day here already up 1. So let's see if that can take 218. If we do, we'll have to regroup and see where we get in and out. What should be a very, very good day today is upon us. So Palantir right here with a little bit of a fall down. Remember, we do have those imbalances here right now. So Palantir with growing now 1.6 on PLTR. So we'll wait to see where that one can go. A little bit of a dip down into 3250 right now for Palantir. Here we go with only 10 seconds now to go. That's a little fast. We'll get going anyways. You can ring it when it's ready. 3, 2, 1. Let's go. All right, market is now open. We'll wait to see what Tesla's doing. We've got Mara trying to bounce around. We've got Palantir doing these dances as well, down to 3250. Here comes Palantir. A little bit of a sell-off early. I'm going to take a little bit of a long now.
Nvidia to the upside already. That did not take very long, breaking out that 105 zone. I'm waiting for 32.4 on PLTR. I want to see what happens when we get there. But wow, good move by Nvidia through that 105. I'm checking ARM is not really doing much of anything. All right, now you're holding a bit of a bid. Let's see if I can get something at that 50 level. The other name we got off the open we're looking at is that Boeing. Want the over-under, but it just broke 162. So it needs to be above 162 for me to like it. I'm in a Palantir now, but wow, Nvidia. Nvidia making some power moves here. Now you got a couple of dollars to the upside already off of the lows there for Nvidia. Get those quarters, Palantir.
Yeah, man, Palantir, we've got a big trade again, man. We are back in this building one more time. Let's see if we can get it. We are also long, of course, on Tesla as that's falling down, and we got to watch out for that one. But there goes Palantir, Neil. It's doing it one more time right there. That's a good trade, man. We sat in there and bought that one, so heads up on PLTR. We'll see. We'll see if we can get some out, right? We want this thing to go a little bit higher than where we are now, obviously, on a little bit of a position, not an upsized one, but definitely a good position here for PLTR. Here comes Tesla, just held 214. I'm going to get a piece out here as it held 214. That was going to be our out. So we'll have to wait to see where that's going. But it's Palantir to the rescue one more time, man. Again, your trade of the day, hopefully happening now on PLTR.
Yeah, what a move there. And Nvidia continues to go. Palantir might take out that high. Remember, it's a breakout. 52-week high is 33.13. So we still like that for a break when it gets there. I should say if it gets there. Don't want to speak in certainties. Mara almost got to 1350 on a dip there, only got to 1365. Still want to look for the relief rally long with the market looking strong. Maybe plays back into VWAP here, 1375. If it can make higher lows, we want this one trending to the upside.
Oh, baby. You want to talk about a trade. We got one on right now, baby. This is a good one here for Palantir. Let's start getting some out. We were now, I mean, we just punched more long at that high, but that was a big mover there for Palantir. We're already like 70 cents in the money off that bottom take. So let's see now what gets going as that buy imbalance is now sort of gone by the wayside. Let's see what happens with Palantir. We're back into Tesla. Palantir had a problem there at 25s or so, or 20s maybe. We did get some out there, of course, on our punch long through 13s there on PLTR. So we'll still hold on. That's where we have the long right now. Trying to fade back here is Palantir. But hey, man, that was a good trade while it lasted. Let's see if it can still last as the market try and take out highs.
Yeah, the market is at the highs of the day as we speak. We're going to have to join somewhere else on Mr. Mara here. This does not want to go back into the dip. But I got to show you Nvidia. Nvidia's now at 106 and climbing. ARM just broke the high of the day.
Let's go.
Let's see if we can. Okay. ARM just broke the high of the day, but the story for the chip names is it probably should have been Nvidia instead of. How many times do I have to hit enter? Come on, chart. All right, my chart is not going. I want to show you guys. There we go. Nvidia is now at 106 and just breaking higher and higher and higher. PLTR, as Sean already mentioned, it's now back at the quarters. It was an ad through that 52-week high break. I think it's got pretty much blue sky setups at this point. But Nvidia is the one. I went into ARM on a breakout, and Nvidia is continuing to go higher. So ARM, we just got into it on a 123. Going to give it back into 123.40, which is this local high in here. That should have been Nvidia today. That one's absolutely flying around. I haven't gotten into Tesla. Still an inside day there. Nothing doing in Apple either.
Look, guys, I don't know if it was a special day on Friday, but it is a special day right now, man. I mean, this is going. We are now positive huge. Tesla is huge right now. We got right back into that. We are now $2 in the money. Thank you, Big Patty Ice, right there for Tesla. This is a trophy day one more time. It is Palantir. It is Neil. It is your trade of the day. Palantir right there. I don't know, man. Light the lamp. Is that what they say these days? I'm still in hockey mode. Let's go, man. This is a monster day. We're doing it again for you live on Trader TV Live. Let's props it up. There it is, Neil. It is $3 in the money for you on Tesla. Let's go. Big day alert happening over on this side. What's up on that side?
We have a small cap runner here to be aware of. It's Syntex Technologies, SINT. This went up more than 120% right now, announcing it's received a U.S. patent with regards to its silicon-related treatment. Market cap of just over $2 million here. So small market cap, lots of volume here on SINT, guys.
Oh my, it is now $4 in the money over here. Let's go. $4 now on Tesla. We bought that dip, man. We got stopped out one time, not twice. This is a monster day here for me. This might be my biggest day of the week, of the month. Because we're just getting started. This is another one here, guys. I know we say that, but
100K offer.
We are actually telling you what's happening right here. These are big trades. These are what you guys want, man. Come in here every single day. It's the big trades. We're taking that suggestion to heart. Give us winners, Neil. Give us winners. Let's go.
Yeah, Palantir obviously number one on all boards. The first thing we sat down over the weekend, we're talking about this thing. I'm going to get to Dell in a quick second, but there was a 100,000 offer at 33.55 just now on Palantir. So when it got back underneath 50, that's an easy take profit out. I'm now holding on to the last piece of Palantir. Remember, it was a dip. 32.4, and then a breakout. The breakout is set almost exactly where VWAP is going to come back in. So 33 even. That's the dip buy that I want to see it hold. Let's form a trend, because if we're going to go up today, you have all day to continue going. It wasn't the only one getting added to the index. Dell as well. But remember, we said Dell is a distinctly different chart. Dell can't even seem to break out the high. Up 5%. It's just not going with everything else. So not a very good look in there for Dell at all, unfortunately. I would like to say, I said 110 would be the level it needs to break. It can't even break 108. Boeing just held 162 and is now trending higher. All right, Palantir is at 20s. I want to get back in at 33. 33 is where VWAP is. If we bounce off that, that's a target zone. But Boeing is breaking higher off the 162. I want to see some higher lows. I said over-under at that 162. It's over. But I need to see it either hold VWAP or give me an entry at said 62 level.
All right, good trading over there. All right, here we go, man. Tesla's now $4 in. But the trophy's already being, like Neil mentioned, man, we're already raising it up here on Palantir today. So that's going to be a big trade for me. All right, so we'll just wait on that. We already wrote down Tesla. Let's take the 218 break, but we got a gift of all gifts. We're long at 214. So right now, I'm not even going to take that break. We will take some out there at 218, but now is the running spot. So let's see if we can do that right now. We've got my running mate right beside me here, and Mr. Neil Roberts. There is going to be a debate over the next couple days, and that is tomorrow night, where DJT will be in focus one more time. This stock going to $10, but for now, nice little move up, 17.50 up to 18.20. For me, that's a puff pass, and we'll wait on that one for next time, because right now, man, the Diamond Hand Man is here. Like I said, I wasn't able to watch the show on Friday, but this is a monster right now here, back inside, man. We play the momentum. That's exactly what we do. And the number one trade today, P&L wise, is not even funny, is Palantir right here. It's your number one trade idea on this sticky note. The number two trade idea, Neil, you want to guess what it is? It's Tesla. And Tesla right now is $450 in the money. So far, so good right now as we continue to climb higher and higher and higher. So I don't know, man, 2 for 2 today, and we may not get into anything else, but let's double check what Google's doing. This is going to be beleaguered and battered name in the Katina household. All right, 33.50. I'm going to get more out now as Palantir, baby.
It's going to fill that guy.
Yeah, man, we still got a good piece on this one right now. Bye-bye, Palantir.
Bye-bye.
You guys know that we are long this name. This has been a very profitable name, both day trading, and investing. Right now, Palantir, monster move. Oh boy, we've got it, and we've got it good one more time here today. I hope you're enjoying the show. Miss A?
ADMA Biologics on watch here. Nice upward move here from the open with strong volume. This one was announced to be adding to the S&P Small Cap 600. So this was an S&P Small Cap 600 edition announced on Friday evening. Currently about 16%. Market cap of around $3.8 billion for ADMA, guys.
ADMA, we can make some jokes about that, but I won't. We'll get to that one a little bit later. Small caps definitely in play, but you got to look to what your plan of action was. The only small name that we're looking at was Mara, relatively speaking.
Oh, yeah, Mara.
It couldn't get down to 1350. I said over under 13.5. That was afternoon resistance, all that good stuff. But it just bounced off of VWAP. So if it cannot break down, then you got to think it's going to look to go up. I don't think we're going to have an inside day when the market's up 1%. We just got 73s. Going to place them out in the 80s. Look to dip buys into 1370, this higher low. If it breaks out the top, look dip buys into VWAP. We're trying to keep it relatively simple. They chewed through that dude at 33.55. 100,000 shares on Palantir isn't a lot, but the first time that it held, it gave you a dip. It just couldn't quite get into VWAP. There wasn't really that good of a VWAP dip. It might just be allergic to VWAP today, and then we're looking at the 34 level. Might be the only place to get into this bad boy. Apple's bleeding. Despite the fact that the market is up, they're selling the you-know-what out of Apple right now. It just broke the low of the day. I'm not trying to chase this move. I thought it would be a pop and fade going into the event. Obviously, it's not going to get to $225. Market's taking out the highs and Apple's taking out the lows. Can't really ignore it. But I don't have a trade plan of action that was to sit on a falling knife of Apple.
All right, we're going to tweet out some Palantir trades here. We just got some more outs near $34. So we talk about it, and I know Adara's been doing this more recently, and I know Sharif has. And that is like, you know, when you get a stock and you think you got it, you kind of got to stick with it and you kind of got to go for it, right? I mean, and that's the whole thing. Like, I've spent so many years looking back and saying, like, wow, we had that level. Like, why didn't we sort of layer into it, or why didn't we believe in it, right? And I mean, today that's paid off in spades. Where Palantir came back in, we bought the dips. We talked about the levels that we like down here at 32.40, right? And then all of a sudden it breaks the 52-week high, which is right here, our trade of the day. And now it's just huge. And, you know, you can either use, you know, comfortable shares, uncomfortable shares. I mean, I think you just want to be whatever you're comfortable with. And I think that's the whole thing. So let's just see how far it can go right now. We've already exceeded our expectations for the day, but that doesn't mean that we are nowhere near being done. Tesla, again, we thought that this could get to 220 on a 218 break. I mean, we sort of thought that there was going to be room up to that level. You know, just looking at a 20-minute chart, we can still get to that 220. That's the 50-period moving average is 221. So I think there's some sort of a spot there. Let's try to get something out at 220. I mean, right now we are long at 214 right now on Tesla. So let's put something up there. Let's go 219.50. We could take $4.50, then that will be something. So let's see if we could do that. You know, that'd be the high of the day right there. Palantir is where it is. And then, I mean, you could just rewind. I was like, the short is what's good on Apple. We don't have it, though. But right into there, nice move breaking through that 220. It was a sell the event thing, right? I mean, that's pretty obvious. The only time to buy Apple is going to be when we hear some more about that demand. Are they going to be able to sell all those units for the 16? And if they can't, then it's a problem, and that is for sure. More outs there.
Expectation is so high.
Yeah, expectation is really, really high on that. Even it should be, right? I mean, like I said, the trade and the stock is an absolute monster. But talking about a monster, we're going to get another piece out on Palantir just in case it's getting a little top heavy right now. And again, we have enough shares to be able to do this, but we are getting out. Like, we only have 10% left now of PLTR, but that 10% is still a doozy. So we don't want to lose it too much, right? That 33.50 area, probably take a piece out if we get back into that range.
Yeah, so as far as Apple goes, I mean, I don't want to completely write this off. I don't see any way that it just continues to drop forever. Go to the daily chart, 217.5 would be an interesting line in the sand if it's even got one. If the market does not go any further from here, I'm going to quickly go over to tried and tested fade play. Intel just can't seem to do much of anything, even when the market's going. But I'm looking at what just happened here. It just wicked the top off of pre-market highs and then go back to the opening range on Friday. The exact level, 1920, just got put up as the high. If it never breaks that and the market fails here, at these highs, then I want to turn to that as a relatively decent fade trade. Mara still looking for a re-entry off of, it might be VWAP at this point. It didn't actually break the high of the day, but it's looking like it's going to. If it breaks the high of the day, I'm looking for VWAP. If it fails the high, then I want to try to get back in at those 70s. That's the level that we got in the first time. That's the level I want to play the second time. But I'm looking at this Intel, and it's looking pretty juicy. That looks like it failed the high break. If it wants to trend down from here, I think this one can be a little bit of a short. But Apple, I didn't think it was going to sell off until later in the day. So I'm not going to chase that move. I want to let it settle down. There might be a bounce play available for us. And Palantir, at this point, it's going to be whether or not there's a re-entry to that trade. Almost doesn't matter because it got to 34 without a decent one. It's just only going into the upside. It might be allergic to VWAP today, so we're going to have to look for some other levels.
Yeah, I'm going to try to just to hold it, man. I mean, if we can, I'm going to put an offer. We just got another piece out there on Palantir up at that 33.40 area, or 33.40, 33.90 area right there. So another one out there for PLTR as we get less and less. Like, we just got that out. I don't know, what did we just get filled on right there? 83, so not a bad one there. I'm going to put one more trade in and around 90 or so, and then we'll hold the rest of Palantir and see if that can come outside right now. Just waiting to see what happens with Tesla. Tesla's still $4 in the money. We'll wait to see what's going on there. We did want to look at Google. Let's just check out on Mara. Mara's actually not doing what I thought it would do. I thought it would sort of start to break a little bit there, and it's not. So, you know, there could be a good trade coming through for Mara, even right now on a 14 break. There we go. Wow. Like we just tweeted out, man, your trade of the day here on Trader TV Live is going to be the Palantir long. And I mean, this name is now...
Whoa, 34.
Oh my, there it goes. Wow, talk about not holding enough of it. Palantir just continues to print a lot of traders, a lot of money. So that's a good one right there. Man, that was a pretty good idea for PLTR. I hope you guys joined the boat on this one. Was that a call for Miss A? Then let's go.
Great look here for Relay Therapeutics, increasing volume at high of days right now. Actually, a catalyst here with regards to positive data for its breast cancer treatment. Market cap of around $835 million. They have a short float of about 6.8% for RLAY, guys.
Relay all the way home and get him gunned out at the plate, which would be $34 on Palantir. Look, it just wicked that top here, taking it station to station. I was looking for another dip. I think we'll probably get a chance at one if there is any pullback off of 34, but it's gone a couple of stations already. I'm out of it now. It's almost 10 o'clock. Well, it's the first 15 minutes of the day has been put in, and I think you've got a bit of a trend forming, at least since the breakout. So I want to observe that trend line. This is my adjustment here, so there's your trend. If it breaks that trend, dip to VWAP. If it holds that trend, I want to see it hold it before I'm any longs above the 34 level. So that's going to be the adjustment for me. Big move to the upside. And what's crazy about it is, it's actually not crazy, I shouldn't say. Like, Dell's still doing nothing, but remember, Dell is a very, very different name. It just is a weak stock that's getting added as opposed to a strong one that's getting added, and very, very different move here for Dell. It can't even get off the bid. I know it's up 4%, but that's a lie. It hasn't moved since the open. This one looking a little bit weak. Mara was still looking for our dip buy. We're being patient about it, but if we don't get this pull back into VWAP, we'll have to maybe look for the breakout level where it just went 1385. So we're about to get to $14 on Mara here. I haven't checked out Coinbase, but Bitcoin's holding 55,000. That's the only thing that we're concerned about. I didn't like the long unless Bitcoin was above that 55.
All right. Yeah, so Palantir continues to work. We've got another piece out there over in at 34. What I was going to say was this 214 area right now, we are still long on Tesla. Like I said, we only have 20% of this. We have like 5% now of Palantir. So we've given some back here. This is a nice move back in for Tesla, like pretty nice for sure. I'll hold it to see if we can get it back into this 50 period, or sorry, the 200 period right here at 215. So nice move back in for Tesla in what's a dangerous name right now, right? I mean, this is breaking lower. So let's wait to see here. I'm going to try to get some more down near 215 and change for Tesla. And then if it breaks lower than that, then we can get away from that name, as the whole market right now trying to pull back there one more time. So here we go.
Meanwhile, Apple's bouncing a dollar.
Okay, so Apple, maybe that's why. Maybe there's some more money coming into Apple. But here comes Tesla as if there's news.
I think
we'll wait to see what's going on. Nice move down here for TSLA.
Yeah, I think Apple is a counter-trend stock at this point. But, I mean, I don't know. My gut's telling me if I wanted to short 225 and it's trend down, I should be shorting it on the way back up. It's not at VWAP. That's always the place we look to join, VWAP, or maybe the even dollar at 219. So I'm going to let it get there and see what happens. But I did like Intel to the south side. This is now holding trend down. If you break 1920, okay, all bets are off. But this has been a short till it's not. So I'm going to try and grab some here at 9s. If I can, maybe get an average price of 10.11. If 1920 breaks, then we just get the you-know-what out of Dodge. All right, we'll see what happens over there. Boeing's not really giving me much of anything. But Rivian is about to test $13 right quick. So technically the low on Friday was $13.07. I know I said $13, but the 13 generally has been support. Rivian seems like it wants to retest that to the downside. This is not a very strong stock. The market's starting to come back in. Let it get to your price for sure. I'm going to throw Boeing almost out the window. It's not really moving the way I would like to see. It's held 62, but there's been zero hold of VWAP. So got to be able to adjust plans. Like, look at the line of resistance at 164. No long unless this breaks out. It has to break that top or I want no part of it.
All right. Yeah, like I said, you know, Palantir today for the office and for many traders and for many of you, I'm pretty sure, is going to be a top stock. Let's see if we can do that again here for Tesla. There's another 70-cent winner right there for Tesla. So we just took it. We took it there at 215.80. We just got it at 216.40. So 60 cents there. We'll see if it can get a little bit higher as we're getting near the top of our net here today because we just got a nice little reload right there again for Tesla. So let's see if it goes. You know, again, nice dip down. The market's now trying to retrace back. We gave it a shot. That was good. Right in there to 18.6. So good trading there for sure for us on Tesla. Mars getting pretty close to that level. Palantir still upside. Google was the one that we were going to look at shorts for. It just bounced off 152.50. So, yeah, so far so good. Come on, man.
14 broke.
Yeah, there it is right now. Yeah, 14 on Mara broke. So Tesla right now, guys, just as an update, we are now $1 in the money on that reload. But this again, I don't know why it just dripped off like that. Let's see if it wants to go back to the upside. Mara breaking 14 and Adair over at the desk.
This part of the show is brought to you by Benzinga Pro. Tired of being late to the trade? Always playing catch up in the market? Missing out on the big moves because you're too slow to the news? Benzinga Pro is your unfair advantage. Get breaking news alerts up to 30 minutes before everyone else. Pinpoint exactly why stocks are moving and join a thriving community of traders who share their strategies in real time. Ready to see how Benzinga Pro can transform your trading? Visit benzinga.com/pro and get a free 14-day trial. Also here, worth noting, RILY on Wall Street, a big move up, now trying to hold on to that $6 level, still up about 10%. This one has been embroiled in recent weeks and months here in some financial probes of its financial businesses and accounting. We do have the company now apparently negotiating a sale of its majority stake in a couple different brands and portfolios here, anticipating just over $400 million in gross cash proceeds. Also announcing that they've established a committee to evaluate their take private proposal. So some updates for RILY, sending this one up more than 10%. Short float here of over 40%, guys.
O'Reilly, that stock, yeah, I still don't understand why I can't trade where they got that private offer at $7. There's something about that they must really, really not like, but is what it is. Big Lots, I just checked. Big Lots is not going to open today, so that's a little bit disappointing because I wanted to short that thing. Mara did break 14. Got to adjust dip buy plans because we might not get in a previous break, but 14.30 was a Friday high. If it gets to that, jumping out in front of the quarters. So I'll probably get like 22s out in front of it and then look for the next available dip. It is a very steep upward trend since it broke out the second time here on Mara. Coin as well. I mean, it doesn't, like whichever one you want to look at, they're both trending pretty nicely into the upside. So I want to keep an eye on Bitcoin and that 55 level to be sure. Apple is catching a bid. And it's going to get to, it looks like at this point it's going to get to VWAP. The only thing that is bleeding right now in Mag 7 territory that I've looked at is Apple. If the market fails a high, I got to feel like it's the one thing to short. I thought we were selling the event at 225 or at 1 o'clock instead. Looks like they're already fading Apple. Not a very good start for them on what's supposed to be glow day. Well, the stock is not exactly glowing.
No, not at all. Good look there on Apple. All right, so Tesla. I mean, I only have two trades today, and they've both been, for me, really opportunistic. I mean, we were able to buy Tesla down to the 200 period. We did get out. We are completely done trying to hold things forever. You don't need to do that. We'll hold winners forever, not losers. So right there, out at the 200 when it broke, gave us a base, and we got back in literally a minute later and took this to the upside, and now it's a very, very profitable name for me today, but it will come out if it breaks this 214.90, 214, 215 basically area right here. So we're just back into the money now. We're long at 215.32. So a good trade there. We did mark down 218 on our sheet, so we're able to get a bunch out there at 218. I like to break long through 218. That stopped at 219. So it didn't get to that 220 area, which is a little problematic. And then even the market holding up near highs for Tesla to be basically at lows again is disturbing. So not really in love too much with this name anymore. Hence why we will be dropping it and not giving it sort of the room that I think it deserves. I think it deserves at least $1, but we're not going to give it to it, not when we get these feels about it. And then Palantir, I was going to drop it, but we were able to get a lot out. We got a lot out at the top. So it's an absolute monster day here for traders of Palantir. So again, congratulations to everybody that were able to take this trade. We talked about it. It's a 52-week high break. We were all over this name, not just myself, obviously Neil, and then the guys behind us there really nailed it. So congratulations to all those guys as well. We did not look at
VWAP incoming.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, view up and coming there.
Bounce.
There you go. Palantir just bounced to the downside there. Nice little crack there in PLTR down to 33.30s. We're starting to get back in as there's some sellers obviously coming in to capture that 10% move now on PLTR. We told you we had less than 5%, so that's what we have right now on PLTR. So let's see what happens.
Yeah, it's definitely pulling back. But Apple, I think I like Apple in the VWAP as well, but that's in the other direction. I didn't want to step in front of falling knife on the way down. I want to see it hold out. We're at the time of the day where I want to see it hold the level, go a little sideways, give you an obvious entry as opposed to let's just sit on the bid and let this one run us over. So let's see what happens with Palantir. Apple just got to VWAP in the other direction. They're actually really starting to buy this up pretty heavily. So in the vein of being patient, I don't want to just sit out in front of it like I just said on Palantir. Let's let it actually hold underneath VWAP. If it's a weak stock, let it actually trade weak. Nvidia can't hold VWAP as well, so it's a weird one where what was strong early, while the market's still at highs, is really starting to pull back. I thought we'd be just going dip and rip after missing a breakout on Nvidia. This does not look as healthy now. I like the 105 hold as a price. And looking at it on Friday, this was a big level as well, but we'll have to let this one settle down. As far as Mara goes, it's right back into 14, so we didn't get that 14.20. If this can't hold on to $14, this might be a good time to jump out and wait for VWAP as well. So Mara, first look has won. I think the second one's going to probably come at VWAP. I know I say VWAP a lot because we like it. And DJT, I'm going to pay for some locates just in case. It feels a little bit much here, and just to keep in mind where this stock was last week, $20 was a resistance level. So I want to be ready in case this thing gets there for a bit of a fade play on DJT. I'm not sure how expensive they'll be, but they're usually just a couple of cents per share.
All right, we just got a monster trade again there on Tesla. So yeah, we're not going to answer that. Travolta's like, come on, man, let these guys cook. There's Tesla right now, another $2. So we just got out at 217, man. We bought that dip right there. If this is, we hashtag real trading all the time. There it is, man. I mean, that's the trade. We bought some strength. We talked about not really loving it. We had our target right there. If we're going to buy 215.80s, you know what I mean? And our target's going to be out at 215 or so. That's 80 cents worth of a move. So right now you're in the money. $3, or sorry, off that move, that's 216, so $2.50, against 80 cents. It's another 3-to-1 risk to reward right there on Tesla. So yeah, man, I mean, there's that 218 level that we talked about, and all we did was just get. And that's it, right? So 2 for 2 today, man. Tesla and Palantir both really, really cooking Tesla's cooking not a lot more right now. Palantir is for me is a no-fly zone right now. You're coming back into these levels. I'm not going to reload right now. I don't see really any reason to do that. We are making all the money right now on Tesla because we still have pretty much all of this reload and some still from down here, which is why we have that average. Well, now our average price is 95. So we actually have that reloaded position now. We're out of all of these, but there it goes, man. So this is really almost a $5 move off that bottom that we had. So $5 in the money now, plus another 2 and change from that reload for Tesla. All is well over here. I'll just wait to see what's going on with Palantir. The other trade that we wanted to look at was the TQQs, of course, was the NASDAQ today. I wrote down, let's watch out for 60. I mean, that's coming in right now, so that could be a hot trade coming through $60 for Tesla, but we do have numbers coming in, as well as, again, another one on Tesla. Now almost $3 in the money. That's almost like $8 on Tesla today, as there goes my level 2. All right, what's up, Adara?
Couple seconds away from getting the wholesale inventories month-over-month number here for the month of July. Previous print of 0.1%, consensus of forecast here of 0.3. This coming in higher than expected, so 0.2% revised number coming in here at 1.1%. So let's see what. Not much of a market reaction here for the S&P 500 on this. Both the SPY and the NASDAQ recovering very nicely from pretty sharp weakness during Friday's session. A lot of these Mag 7 and tech names particularly strong. Some other names to be aware of today as well, including Boeing holding on to some nice support here just above that 162 level, up almost 4% here. Hearing some reports that there's a tentative deal between their workers unit and the company that could avert a strike initially planned here for September 13th. We also have ARM on watch here, ARM ahead of the Apple iPhone 16 event. ARM's chips are reportedly powering these iPhones, so keep an eye on ARM here as well, guys.
52-week high is Palantir.
Bang.
It looks like. So, like, I mean, obviously, the most simple thing in trading is support turning into resistance and vice versa. So if 33.13 was a 52-week high, if it's not going to bounce at VWAP, I think look right to that level. I don't see any other reason to look anywhere else. So Palantir is trying to level back off and go again. Once you broke the high on INTC, I'm not reversing, but I'm out at a 19.20. If this wants to trend up from 19.20, it's got till $20 to do so. Apple's trying to get through VWAP as we speak, but I'd rather look for a long instead of a short. And to me, that's going to lead me over to Nvidia, which is finally holding above VWAP. It bounced 05. Now it's going to try to make a bounce off of VWAP on Nvidia. If you can't have a relief rally day without Nvidia, but it'll be a lot more fun if Nvidia decides to join the party. There's clearly was no trade off $100 today on NVDA, but now it's trying to bounce off of VWAP as we speak. That wholesale inventories number doesn't really spook, but I didn't have any orders while it was out. Now that we're holding VWAP, I want to see one more bounce. We'll see if we can't get back into it. I have a trail on Mara at $14. If it breaks that, we'll look to get out and then jump back in at the aforementioned VWAP. So let's go Nvidia. Let's try to get a fill off. VWAP here, some higher lows trying to be put in.
All right. Good trading there with Nvidia. We'll have to wait to see if it can hit or not. All right, so we got a little bit of reloaded here. We've hit that button a little bit too much. We'll figure out what's for lunch later. But right now, we'll fire off the hot dog cannon because our reload on Palantir was 33.23s and 33.29s. So right now, here it goes, a nice little... Neil, what kind of a day are we even having? Again, there's the reload on Palantir, and there it goes right up to the upside there. So, yeah, buddy, this is a monster trade there. One more time for Palantir. And then our Tesla trade is still $3 in the money, and we just reloaded that 10 minutes ago. So we'll see where that can go. We are long on Tesla at 216. It's breaking day's high now at 219. That's a little silly not to get something out, I would think. It's hard enough to find 50 cents around here, let alone $3. So there it goes. Thank you very much for that one. One more time there on Tesla. And it's not like these trading ideas are coming out of nowhere. It's right here on the sticky note. There goes 220. We said 218 to 220. Tesla's a good trade there. It's the number one. Well, the number one P&L name was Palantir, but the number two, obviously, here will be Tesla. So, yeah, there it goes. We are at our day's high. It's 10 o'clock. I can't feel my hands. But, you know, right now, this market, don't need to. Let's sit back and relax. Watch the money here kind of pile in on these longs. really surprised. The market up 1.26% today. And the funny thing is,
even Neil's up.
My number, yeah, I know. My number one stock since as split has been Nvidia. We haven't even looked at it today. Go PLTR, man. It's a good day to be long that stock. That is.
Oh yeah.
Well, it's been a great 3.5 years. But all right, over there, Dara, what's up?
This part of the show is brought to you by Firefly Neuroscience. Firefly Neuroscience is revolutionizing brain health. Our groundbreaking brain network analytics technology is transforming care for patients with depression, dementia, anxiety, concussions, and ADHD. With 15 years of research and a wealth of brainwave data, we're set to illuminate the future of diagnostics and treatment. Pharmaceutical companies and medical practitioners, get ready. FDA 510K cleared BNA technology is here to supercharge your clinical trials and enhance patient care. Join us at Firefly Neuroscience, traded on NASDAQ as AIFF, and be a part of the next big leap in neuroscience. Ignite hope, one brain at a time.
Thank you very much. That would be good news. I mean, sure the NFL would like that. I mean, anything for brain health, man. Like, that's the most important thing for sure. And every time I watch those big collisions on Sunday, I think, yeah, if you can figure out a way to get past that CTE and some of that stuff, that'd be fantastic. But I don't know if we're going to be looking at that reload just yet. Oh, never mind. Nvidia just came in. Nvidia just lost VWAP. Slap a fail on Nvidia at VWAP. It's looking like it's trying to hold, but I need this one to settle down a little bit. We put it on the other side of the number, and maybe that was a mistake because obviously it did bounce a little bit, but it needs to start holding out to VWAP. If it can do that, I like it a little bit better. It's formed a bit of a trend. Now I want to see it connect in the second time here. So VWAP's just a line on a chart. I still have that trail, which might get triggered on Mara. Yeah, it's about to break that 14. It just hasn't really printed beneath 99s just yet. If it doesn't bounce VWAP, then there's a breakout price at 1385 that I want to respect. So you are getting a nice move today, but it's not like you're flying around in crypto. Coin's at the high, Mara's already pulling back, Bitcoin's still pretty much at 55. Like, it hasn't really broken away from that level just yet. I still think it's got time. Apple's still looking relatively weak, although it's 220, not VWAP, that was resistance. Essentially, aftermarket lows here on Apple. Gonna have to do that if it wants to join the party. But for now, that still looks like it's a bit of a short. All right, Mara, you don't seem to want to print. Now you do. I'm going to jump out there underneath that 14. Look for the next available dip. I don't know if VWAP will be it. It might just be back at the 13.8, 13.85, where we were able to consolidate last time through.
4. Okay. Yeah, just looking there. So right now, it's been a good day. People, we always get questions about in the back. It's 4-4 right now, red and green. So 50% of the traders here are green and 50% are red. So that is a great ratio there. So let's see if we can hold that and make it even better for that. Look, we got out of Tesla there at what we thought was the highs, right? Our first out was 219 there. Then we got out at 219.50. So that's where we're out now of Tesla. And again, right there, we'll save ourselves a little bit of money as it flushes down. We are no longer in Tesla. And Mara did not break our levels, so I'm going to cancel that. We're going to cancel everything now on the way back, and we've done damage now. So it's 10:07. Biggest day of the month here already just on these two trades. And a lot of it is just, a lot of it is Tesla, but Palantir really gave that confidence early, right? You got to have confidence in a trade, and that's what it is. And yeah, I mean, we can hit that, but that is the thing. And we can, there's been some big trades there, and a lot of them were that one, right? You just got to believe in that. And then there's the reload there. Not as many shares. Like on the reload, I took like 15% maybe at most of what we had on this break. So not a big position on the reload, but again, falls right back into a spot that we know we like. So we're doing that, man. We're doing it and doing it well. LL Cool J. All right, so that's it. So we'll wait for a little bit of a higher break to the upside right there on Palantir. I mean, real sees real, guys, and you can see right now that these trades so far so good. We did write down Google at 152, and someone in the chat, and I missed who your name was, or don't remember, or I don't know. There's a couple of people that were mentioning Google was back to 152. So in a name that this is the only short name that we had written down today was going to be Google, and let's go Palantir. Oh my, Neil, that reload down there at VWAP, what a trade to do down there. I know me and you always talk about that. VWAP comes right to VWAP and screams at it and just is like, buy me, buy me. Good trade down there, VWAP, Palantir, 33.25.
Yeah, it definitely got to that 25. I was kind of looking at I said supply and support and resistance, supply zones, it's the same thing, but it did not get to where I liked it. Unfortunately, it got really, really close, but no wick. I can look at VWAP now because it's putting in higher lows. So when I see this, the next plan of action will be, okay, well, now you've got 2 points. You got the dip at the open. You've got the dip into essentially VWAP and that previous 52-week high. Now, if it can hold that line, you're now going to be holding VWAP once again. So you go into a bit of a scalp mode as well. Apparently, Moderna is going crazy. I see a few people in the chat, Big A, Chef Joe, Big Asian and Chef Joe both mentioning this. So when I say going crazy, this is a 3-minute chart of Moderna. There is not a red candle on it. It almost looks like program buying on Moderna. There's not a lot of size in level 2. It's not an exorbitant amount of volume, but certainly it's some kind of a buy program going on mRNA. It's at resistance points, so I don't know that I'd want to be punching that top. I paid for locates on DJT. I thought it was going to get to $20. DJT got to 19 and pulled back. So there's not going to be an entry for me that's setting up very well on DJT. I wanted it to get to that resistance at 20 for a trade. Mara doesn't seem to want VWAP, so we'll look for that 14 level to start to hold. Mara's got lots of room to get to 15. I thought if it failed Friday's resistance, then we get a dip back into VWAP, but I like this one for a trend long. As long as it's making higher lows, I want to go back into MARA, and of course 55,000 has to hold. I think 14 can be a nice little entry as well. But Moderna, it's baffling. Adara?
Yep.
Actually found a bit of a catalyst here for Moderna mRNA this morning, announcing that its Canadian manufacturing facility in Quebec has received this drug establishment's license from Health Canada. This means that it will be able to produce mRNA, its vaccine, domestically. So some domestic vaccine production, potentially a catalyst for mRNA, though, as Neil mentioned, bit lower volume. Also worth knowing they do have a short float of around 6.5%, guys.
Please. I don't know. I have a free roll on Moderna. But we'll see. It's bizarre. There is not a lot of liquidity on Moderna right now, yet it's just bleeding to the upside is the only way to describe it. I don't know a better way to say it other than the fact that it's bleeding higher and higher and higher. That's a weird one, man. That's a weird one. We'll see if we can figure out what's going on there. But the market is breaking out past those highs again. Man, my hands are absolutely freezing.
My hands are freezing. I just asked for a
reload. Yeah, I might need a reload as well.
All right, guys, you want to talk about a reload? Oh, Canada. Just felt like doing it. There it goes, man. Palantir's at 34 chicken dinner dollars. This is just an absolute monster. I just tagged Brian Shannon there on the tweet. Like, back into VWAP, it doesn't get much better than that, honestly. Tesla dips down in. We could have just got Tesla again. We're waiting for the same trade on Tesla. We told you we canceled all of our bids. Like, I'm very specific on what we want right now. If we take 220, I will give that a little bit of a taste, breaking through 220 again. That was a level that we had talked about again on the note. That was possibly as the high for that break right here. And this is what we're talking about. This is the sticky note trade there. Take Palantir at 33.10. That's $1 now in the money. We have it lower. Take Tesla 218 break. We have Tesla lower as well. Watch out for Google 152 short. So we can have a quick look at that. So that's right here, right now. And then we said, leave Mara alone until 14.20. And that's the high to the penny today, 14.20. So, I mean, so far, so good on all of the names here today as we just continue to watch out for just more and more profits coming through on people took profits on Palantir. Will they let it run now? I mean, I hope so. This is going to be a big position for me just in swing and in the long term. I feel like you might want to take something out now that we have the announcement. But, hey, man, this is just day one. So we're already up 12% here. Palantir, again, we told you it could go meme crazy. Let's see if it can. Breaking through 34 could spark a nice little move higher. I'm going to wait at 34, like 15s. Let's go to 14s. Take a piece out right there. I mean, that would be $1, obviously, on the reload. Multiple dollars on this name all day long. PLTR, good play. I mean, I wish I could talk about others. Microsoft has dripped almost into that August fifth level again, back through $400 and back again. We'll see if it can hold those levels, but we saw Google lose it. So the August, I mean, I don't think it went down to 370, but it's this like 290, maybe it did. It's this 290, it probably did. It's this 295 area sort of was what I was trying to reference about that August 5th low. So we'll see if that could hold. So that's another name that's on the verge, right? Meta's been really strong. Wow, there goes Palantir, guys. Like you want to. So again, this name still has, as far as Meta being one of the stronger ones, you still have $50, $60 from that bottom of August 5th. So we don't have to look over there, but oh my, Palantir just continues to sing, man. I mean, there it goes, breaking through 34 for the second time today. Let's now see if it winds up holding it or not. We have the high of 34.06. That reload was like chef's kiss. That one. I honestly, that and that Tesla reload really has set us off right now. So we'll just wait. I'm at 34.15. Hopefully we can get that level. Just kind of random area there. You know, trying to play a break, and then we'll see if we can hold on to a little bit more after that. But yeah, we are definitely not able to feel our hands, and we've been drinking the water, so all of that is good. It feels like it's freezing.
Mr. Westermeyer in the chat, I can't conceive a way DJT has any kind of future. I mean, I don't necessarily understand, based on the revenues that they're making and all that kind of good stuff, how things will go well. Do remember, it's like 11 days from now that Donald Trump can sell. But before we get to that, I like DJT for a short, but I liked it at 20. There's whatever is going on in Moderna. It's a similar look on NEO, where it's just very steadily upward green here. It's about to break a tight and steep trend line in here. So when I'm looking for a mean reversion trade, it's usually something going a little bit parabolic. It's trying to break underneath that trend, which could happen any second now through like 21s and 20s. And then if it gets a view upward chase, that's $5. Halfway would be $5.10. If it breaks this trend, I want to look for a revert. I just like this a little bit better than Moderna. When Moderna is really going, I feel like controlling it, if you get the wrong side, is a little bit more tricky. Like Moderna has a very similar setup, but without trying to understand exactly what's going on there, that's one that you don't want to fight if it's squeezing, whereas NEO is a little bit more controlled. So if it breaks back up above the high, to me, it's an easy out, as it's trying to break the trend line in here. You can either you can give it to the top of the trend line again, which we're risking at 23, or you can give it to 25s when there's a mean reversion on. And again, it's just the way that this was parabolic to the upside. I like it a little bit better than I do mRNA, which is, again, a very similar setup. It's almost identical here, but Moderna, when it squeezes, yeah, Moderna might end up being better, but I'm choosing this one a little bit more. I just like that setup a little bit better on NIO. Right, Mara's starting to come back in. So Mara, I can like VWAP all I want, but if it's going to hold on to the trend line that we have already set, you can draw it two ways, but on the 15-minute, it still looks very valid. The last available dip, really on a 15-minute, was right there at the open, but I'm just looking for 14 to hold now. So 14, key price level, key trend level as well, is Randy just refilled our coffee, and we just are looking for a refill on Mara. Been a good long so far, but I want to see some continuation with it. And Palantir might be giving you a little bit of a dip opportunity soon as well. We're going to adjust away from the breakout price and start working back in to VWAP. I'd like to see VWAP hold a little bit better. It gave you unders and then right back into the breakout. I was looking a little bit tighter to 33, didn't give it enough room, or maybe gave it too much room, I think is the way to look at it. And then we got to look for a bit of a dip into VWAP. Still a strong stock. Oh, Apple. Yeah, Apple's a problem. Apple's trying to break 220 here, and it can't seem to go. I know a lot of us were thinking shorts on Apple today into the event, like sell the event. If it can't break this 220, you might not be waiting until 1 o'clock or 1:30 or 2 o'clock for a fade. Clearly, it's the weak name in the Mag 7. Got to try to respect it to the other side here. I just want to see if we can get underneath VWAP or maybe retest this 220 level on AAPL. We're probably early on Nvidia. Like I gave it into VWAP there and caught it on the other side of the trade, but it's looking a little bit better. Now it's actually setting up what I like to see at this time of day, which is give me a trend that I can play off of, and it seems to have one now. I got in before it was established, and then it made it like 2 seconds later, but as I say that, it's trying to test that trend line to the downside. I want to see it hold, and then look for a bit of a bounce that you can get back into the prior high. Westermeyer, would you be in danger in 2K DJT short and wait? What would be the danger? Thank you for the super chat, Mr. Westermeyer. What would be the danger of buying or going 2,000 DJT short and waiting? Waiting for what is till the debate, I suppose? I mean, the danger would be that it squeezes, obviously. You have to have an out to every single trade. I don't think you could just say I'm going long or going short and I'm holding it till Tuesday. That would seem a little bit dangerous to me because anything can happen on a squeeze name. I don't think it's going to do very well, but it's still very capable of ripping faces off.
All right. Yeah, well, I'm just watching. So Palantir does get up basically to our level again of we're going to go to small cap recap in a second. He got to 34.14. We're waiting at 34.14. So we were just on the wrong gateway there for that. So I you know what? I feel like now if we can, like maybe that's like an omen or something. Like we were right there and we were just, it came to us. I thought we were going to get printed. We did not. I told you we're at 34.14. So it comes right up into that level and stops on a dime. We're going to go to, oh, here we go. If we can get back up right now, we'll get out a piece just before $34 right now. We'll do that. And then for Tesla, I'm going to take a 220 break if that does come through. Look at the futures right now. Nice move down. You know what? I'm going to take out some Palantir right there at 93, sorry, 92. Right there, and that's that. So right now we have one small piece left on PLTR, nothing else. That's it, man. It's the Palantir show, and we're proud to be a part of that one today. Thank you, Alex Karp and company. All right, Adara, it's 10:20.
Much like the NASDAQ and the S&P 500, we have a lot of strength here in IWM to start the day. Up just under 1% right now, so up about 0.9% for the Russell 2000 as it continues to push into new highs of day. We do have a couple different small caps to watch here, including RILY. This one not at its highs, but still about 13-14% here. 40% short float. They did announce they're going to sell roughly $410 million worth of some of their assets. They also announced that they've established a special committee with regards to this take-private proposal they've received. So interesting look here for RILY. We also have SINT on watch, Syntex Technologies. They did receive a patent with regards to this alumina-based treatment. Have a float here of 724,000 shares. 7.5% of that is sold short, market cap of just over $2 million for SINT. And last but not least, INBS. No news on this one. Pretty much at high of days here, up about 80% right now. Intelligent Biosolutions is the name of the company. They do have a float of just over 3 million shares, a market cap of just under $5 million for INBS.
All right. So good out there, obviously, on Palantir. As you can see that one breaking back down through now. So we just took that fill at 92. You saw me punch it. So good out there. Nothing going on Tesla. Yeah, thank you so much again for Jay Hampel and everybody out there. You know, it's like a thankless game, you know, here. All we can do is sort of give some ideas. That Google 152 short, I mean, again, I'm glad that you guys have it. Like, you know, we should have taken it ourselves. We just weren't really thinking about shorts at that time. And yeah, that was a great one there at 152. So shout out to Jay Hampel. Shout out to, oh, look, I mean, here it is, Neil. I mean, this is what we're talking about. You know, thank you, Coffee Trader and everybody else out there that, you know, was at least looking for that trade. And for me, it was just, knew we wanted the short. It's $1.30 now in the money. And congratulations, you guys took it, man. I mean, the Nasdaq's up 1%. That is a little bit of a tough game to play, which is why we chose not to play that right there. But definitely a mistake, but good for you out there, Coffee and Jay and everybody out there. Congrats one more time for that one. I had to run to the bathroom, and honestly, I had to like run some hot water in my hands. I feel way better now. Like they're really freezing. I didn't even check I actually meant to check the thermostat.
The worst is I'm like in shorts for some. Well,
yeah, I was wondering. I was like, you're wearing shorts, but you know what? The day's actually not like we were playing baseball yesterday at 10. At our game was 9 a.m., but we were there like 8:30, and it was like.
It was cold in the morning.
It was like 10, 15 degrees less. Now it feels like 13 degrees here, of course, Celsius. So I don't know.
I got to start wearing jogging pants.
60 degrees. Like, I don't know. It's pretty cold in and around here.
It's not like anyone knows that I'm, obviously because I still have an air cast, so I have to wear shorts every single day. But I could easily just wear track pants and no one would be the wiser. Although then I couldn't show off my walking, which we're doing this week, Fabian. I told Fabian the second I can do real steps that I'm gonna show you guys live. And I don't know. I'm feeling pretty good about it. We'll see. But yesterday I was able to do like a little bit. No, but NEO, we took that first opportunity for the mean reversion trade, got 20 short. It broke out that local top there. It was like 2.5 cents worth of risk, and it's still going to the upside. Like, look how this thing is going. I want to play mean revert because I didn't get that long, and I'll show you the other one. So the other one that we looked at, which was exactly the same setup, was Moderna. Moderna probably better for that same kind of trade. It gave you a nice little dip. 78.5 would have been like the entry, and it comes all the way into 77.2. I picked NEO over Moderna. Obviously, Moderna is going to do a little bit better, clearly. And then we got a dip in Mara. It just tagged 14s, held on to VWAP, but this market's starting to pull back a little more heavily. I got some out there, 1406, but if you lose VWAP, jumping out of this trade and reassessing, because the market suddenly not looking as healthy as it did before, clearly. GWAP 10, I didn't break my leg. I tore my Achilles. I'm just like 7.5 weeks out post-surgery. But yeah, I didn't break the leg. I was playing against some 7 to 9-year-olds in soccer, and I am over 40, and I did not warm up, so I tore my Achilles, and I'm on the bend. Definitely a lot better. Like, I only have one crutch now. Like, I'm absolutely like flying around, relatively speaking. The market is heading back in, and Apple is still bleeding. Like, Apple looking incredibly weak. Gets back under VWAP, so shorts back into VWAP is going to be the plan to try to join. Mara's the last one holding on, and I saw Harman just say, how about IoT? Yeah, no, don't get me wrong. This stock is going, I was just telling when Sean sat back down, I was like, man, that IoT is no joke either, Samsara. But there's a distinct difference between the charts of Moderna and NEO and this IoT, which if it had better volume, I'd be thinking maybe this is a breakout trade. But post-earnings, Samsara looking relatively strong. But, I mean, look at that Moderna chart. I think that's why I liked it for some kind of that in NEO. I like that kind of mean reversion because your risk reward on NEO, you could try to risk 2 to 3 cents, and it was 10 to 15 if it got to VWAP. So I like that risk reward on a mean revert. IoT doesn't have that same kind of parabolic move to the upside, at least not right now.
Yeah, nice move down right now in everything. I mean, I'm really, really surprised here at some of the names that we're looking at are still at the highs. I mean, Palantir is at the high of the day right now as the market pulls back. So you want to talk about relative strength. I mean, I was looking for other names here. Oracle going to report tonight. So I feel like today's show is going on long. 10:30. All right, 141 right now. I mean, we bought Oracle in the teens and in the O's, and it's been a really hot fire. Like, you want to talk about a different maker here, Oracle. Some of the tech names continue to fall down. We talked about many of these names back down near their August lows. Oracle, not even close. I feel like this could be a hell of a quarter there for ORCL next month. Today, heading into what should be a good month for them in September. Tesla, look, I'm going to take the break here at 220 just because it's so strong. But, I mean, definitely noticing that this 218, like the 50 period in the VWAP has been so good. So it is no surprise that we do come back in here and test these highs again. If the market can finally go, then we'll be able to give that one more try through that level. Again, an absolute monster stock here today, just for the office in total. It's Palantir 1, it's Tesla 2. Those are the top 2 names. So we'll wait to see if we can get something going on that. We did know that note. So if you see that come in, man, it's going to be 220 break on Tesla. We did also mention $92 on Starbucks. I like that level now that we've broken below it, but it's been real quiet on that front. Checking back on Nike, Tesla, Starbucks flat on the day. We'll give it a little bit of a break to see what happens. Nike did make a move up for sure, man, into 81.50. So good move there for Nike today, holding bid up 0.5%. I don't like the competition. We heard some bad news again on China, although I feel like Alibaba was rebounding a little bit here with the market up. Not really, with the market up that 1% plus at one point there. Alibaba only got to 81 and still downside. So, besides Google, I talked about really liking that short.
Baba's down?
And yeah, Baba's down 1%. So, Alibaba back into here into $80. Still well above sort of where we bought it, but not well enough. I mean, we were in this name back to 90 or so in the past, so we could definitely check out Alibaba if that comes in one more time. And Tesla bounces completely off that again. So Rivian right now coming back to the downside through 14. We'll see if it can hold that 15. We were lucky enough to get some of this out. I mean, we're not Rivian millionaire like in the chat, but we were able to get something out at 18, which was really good. I remember the price was 18.33 in change that we were able to get some out, and that just turned out to be real lucky. That seems to be the top, but there's the bottom maybe of $13. Another big cap name on watch here today for real traders is going to be Amazon. Okay, here we go, man. Palantir is now breaking higher at the high of the days. That trade just continues to sing. We should be up way more than we are on it, though. Okay, so Rivian, Amazon. Why didn't my chart change? All right, so Amazon's still up that 1.6. This pulling back into the 200, giving me a little bit of interest there in Amazon. A stock that's up on the day and pulling back in. We'll try the long here on Amazon.
And this segment of the show and the Palantir trade and the Tesla trade and everything here brought to you by Trade the Pool. Becoming a funded trader means trading with a firm's money instead of your own. At Trade the Pool, you first complete an evaluation by hitting profit targets while managing risk. Once you pass, you get access to up to $260,000 in buying power. You keep up to 80% of your profits while the firm covers the risk. It's the perfect way to trade big without risking your own funds. Ready to become a funded trader? Join Trade the Pool and scan that QR code below if you are interested. Definitely thank those sponsors in there. And trading is a game of momentum, right? So we want to put those hits on when things are going up. But if they start coming back, you got to be a little bit wary of it. So let's jump back over into trading here. Thank you to that. Thank you to our sponsor. We just lost VWAP on Mara. So Mara initial break, dipped back into 14, got 05s, got back in at 13.98, and it just lost VWAP. So what goes up doesn't have to come down, but it is coming down right now. Starting to come into the downside is MARA. I don't know if we get to the 13.5 again, but I do look at that opening range, 13.70. That's where I try to pick it up. Apple is now all right. It's not going to necessarily give a consolidation under VWAP the way that things are falling on Apple. So going to have to look to short the next available pop as the downward trend stays with them. At 1 o'clock, everything can change, obviously, but we have a long time till you get to 1 o'clock. And the Glow event. They call it something else. Let's go over to the desk with the Dare and a crypto update. No, it's not the Glow event. It's like the...
Crypto just dropped back below 55 here, currently trying to hold on to that 55,000 level for BTC here on the daily chart. You can still see these lower highs that were forming here. It is worth noting, seeing some comments from crypto analysts, that the fact that crypto closed above 54,000 on a weekly basis is a positive sign. That has been a pretty key level, though there was $600 million in crypto funds shedding money here in the last month. So spot Bitcoin ETFs continuing to see some pretty consistent net outflows. So interesting outlook. We'll have to see where BTC goes from here. As far as these other cryptocurrencies are concerned, Ethereum basically flat on the day, slipping below that 2,300 level. Generally, though, positive for a lot of these crypto names, with the exception of a slightly negative Solana. We have Dogecoin up 2%, Toncoin up almost 8% here, Avalanche up 2 2/3%, Cardano up about 1%. So general positivity, though Ethereum more or less flat here on the day, guys.
Yeah, Ethereum, ETH hasn't been doing, it's not as healthy as it used to be. And, it is what it is. But with the market starting to pull back in here, I just saw Mark's Cars just say Neil's Neo uptrend just broke. You know what? I actually would say it held. You can always form the uptrend however you want. And there's two ways to do it. A lot of times you'll see me do it when it breaks out. I'll put the trend in here along the lines of this, which if you actually ignore the opening move or include the opening move, I think you end up with essentially the same thing, which is around where I was looking for the trend reversal. It then goes even higher. I didn't even see it breaking this 530 to the downside, but it's the first time it's looked relatively, I shouldn't say relatively weak. It's the first time it's done a real dip outside of my entry point. I don't want to chase it, but if it's going to get down into VWAP, I think you've got a couple of ways it can do it. Like you can bounce off prior highs, retest the high, put in a lower high, and then go. But let's be patient about it. It's a strong stock. I would much rather, after missing the trend break, look towards something like, okay, well, Apple's weak. Let's short a pop on Apple. Apple, if it gets to VWAP, or Apple just here, first available pop, maybe back into 219. Want to join the trend. You got to be willing to join a trend when you see it. I didn't think this was going to be the way that Apple traded today, but it's showing you that they want to bleed into this GLOWTIME event.
Yeah, so right now it looks like Amazon, we will put an L on the board here. We just got something out at 173 or 174.10, but there it is, breaking lower there on Amazon. So yeah, we'll flush that trade down. The market did not hold at all. Man, that Google trade, I don't even want to look back at it, where we could possibly be right now. But maybe we should, because it's going to be probably, yeah, there it goes, breaking through 150 goes Google. Oh man, what a missed opportunity. Oh, what kind of a day would that be right now if we had that? But that's okay. We can't have everything. And like we said, man, basically 50-50 around here, positive to negative traders. So it hasn't been a super easy day. You had to have had Palantir big. And then if you're able to get Tesla too, those have been two big trades, obviously, for us. And then right now we will lose on that Amazon drop off. But I don't know. I'm trying to think about the futures here and see if there is a level to buy. Like, I don't hate on Amazon down here. It's just, oh man, like it's a 1.5%. You're just under the 50-period moving average. I mean, you know what? Let's not just try to believe in something for the sake of believing in it. We did break below the 200. We broke below the 50, and now we're starting to go lower. So normally I kind of get that FOMO and buy back into it, like I did on Tesla. That wasn't FOMO, but like we did on Tesla there once it found that bottom early. Thing is, though, like right now, it hasn't found a bottom. So I'm going to wait on buying more Amazon. I think there's an opportunity at 173.50 maybe. I do have a feeling I'm going to look back at this in 10 minutes and I mean, we were long at 174.11s, so it's right back in there. We will lose that 35 cents there on it, and now wish we had it back. But again, it was looking weaker there. The future's starting to bounce now, so maybe that is a sign of a little bit more strength coming in to the market. I mean, let's go over to my P&L number one, not today, but over time, Nvidia, and have a look here because that is also bouncing off the 200-period moving average, so that probably was something to take as well. Amazon, maybe not, but Nvidia, both up nicely. 104.50, a nice bottom for Nvidia. I think it might be worth a little bit of a stab here, but the market is the other way.
Wow.
So,
Samsara is going to break it out while the market's going down.
Look, man, today's a big day. So it's just like, do we even really want to mess around with our net right now if something doesn't set up for us? So I'm going to say the answer to that is no. Put this money in our pocket for now. It's 10.35. If I can get a short, maybe a bounce back on Google or something, then we'll look to take that. But I don't mind this Nvidia trade down here at 104.50, to be honest with you.
104.50. Yeah, that one's really starting to come back in. Apple doesn't even want to bounce to get you in. You're going to break the low any second now here on Apple. Is what it is. I thought we'd get back and maybe play like a 219. Instead, we'll go back over to NEO. So yada, trend line, lower high. You can see consolidating off a lower high. VWAP sits at like 1506 or so. It's going sideways. If it does like a head and shoulders, that's what that would set up. 525 would be the out. We're in here at 22s, play back into VWAP. But I just feel like if Apple's so weak, I don't want to play a break at the low of the day here. I don't like a break at the low of the day on Apple. I feel like Apple usually at this time of day is going to fail a break in either direction. That's what I usually remember. So if it does a fail break, let that trap some people, let it pop back up and play a short in that regard. With this move, Rivian's got to be back at 13. Nope. Okay, I thought we'd see Rivian at that 13 level with the market coming back in. Rivian's holding strength. Okay, so Rivian's relatively strong. It bounces off the 13. This could just be a VWAP play. I thought with the market weak, we'd be looking at 13 even on Rivian. That's how, we like this one bouncing off 13. If it's going to be higher lows, then we should play this one for strength. And why do we like 13 on Rivian? Because that's where somebody keeps on holding the bid. Every time it bounces, it's been generally a good long on Rivian. So I want to see these higher lows start to hold. Yeah, it's pretty good. I actually thought this would be a negative stock today based on this move in the market back in.
Yeah, Rivian holding out there. Yeah, I think there's a pretty good strength there in Tesla, and we'll see. We did have NEO
That's probably
trying to go higher as well. Let's double check on NEO right now. So, okay, we're only going to be in this a couple more pennies, man. I mean, here comes Nvidia screaming to the downside. We said being long, and we'll give back probably like 10% now, 15% maybe of our day, which is not great, but it's only 10:30, so I'm completely fine with rolling the dice in and around this time. But we had mentioned maybe flipping over to the short now that the market seems like it wants to bleed out. So I said we give this a shot. So there it is. We'll drop that out. We were long at 56 out on a break of 30, so another 25 cent flush down the toilet right there. But again, 15% gone on my account for the day. And as Neil said in his little ad read there, if you're going to trade with other people's money, this is when you want to, be able to take some risk, put on some trades that you believe in. And we tried it right there. It's a good thing we got out of the way of Amazon, as that's breaking a little bit lower now, as well as this market continues to go. So flip it over, man. I mean, now we just got to flip. We had mentioned this Google short. We really liked it. We don't have it. That's 152. I'm going to keep going back to names because, again, I don't want to look back and be like, oh, man, we talked about that short. We don't have it. But Google right there was a good one. Weak name. We talked about why we wanted to short this one. I mean, look how bad this looks. That 156 break was so cash money there on Friday. Came in, boom, boom, boom. Expected, just like we took Palantir break long, this break short was monstrous. So right there, 156 on a negative print. Wow, huge move down for Google. Now down 0.81. Again, another 1% on the most profitable of the Mag 7 names. Google, nice downside hit right there. 149.50. Where to pick it up? Nowhere, in my opinion, right now. We're going to wait to see how far this name wants to drop in. I'd love to short this name back to 150. So maybe if we do get a pull into that area, that could be a short. Yeah, man, Palantir is holding, and Palantir is your number one name here. It's not even close how big Palantir is here for this office. So again, congratulations to everybody that has that one. It's Palantir. It's great. Fantastic. PLTR. Alex Karp, celebrating today for sure. Shopify, $68. Where is it? There it is. Downside move for Shopify right now, trying to break through the 200 period. That could be happening immediately. That's sort of the pre-market levels, although no volume. Palantir down almost straight $1 and change right now for PLTR. As the market gives it back, man. They gave back everything to today already. So there it is. We've already broken through the day low. We might be able to take this, but if we can, that's 18,550 possible level to buy some Qs. But I don't know. I'm kind of thinking pretty short right now. We've had such a good little run here. I don't really want it to end. So we'll wait. Nice pullback here in the market. Let's figure out if we can get a bottom, maybe around 18,500. Just bounced off there. That could be a spot. We'll get Neil's thoughts when we get back from the desk and Adara.
One notably weaker sector here, that being health services, but generally lots of strength in the markets today. A lot of these Mag 7 names leading the way with the exception of Apple and Google. Apple has its event coming up here at 1 p.m. where it's expected to unveil the iPhone 16. Google having the start of its antitrust trial here. Lots of strength in consumer durables, energy, minerals, retail trade, finance, commercial services notably strong here. Health technology pretty strong as well. Transportation, and of course, with regards to these tech sectors, Nvidia leading a rebound for a lot of these chip names, with notable exceptions being Broadcom and Micron here. Also a lot of strength in the technology services sector here. Google to the downside with its antitrust trial here, as mentioned, but worth noting, keeping an eye on ORCL, Oracle, reporting earnings tonight after the close.
Yes, sir. I mean, you don't have any gigantic companies reporting, but Oracle, a big one still left on the docket for earnings. Daniel asked in the chat, because I had mentioned Google the last couple of weeks, or Alphabet the last couple of weeks, and go over it again just because someone's like, did you buy it? I'm like, absolutely not. Because my thesis was, can it hold on to the 50 period on the daily, the 200 period on the daily and the 50 period on the weekly. And this is the daily chart, the 200 period, which you did not hold this week. And if you look at the weekly, it's a similar story. It was essentially the same price, but you didn't hold it either on the weekly. You close underneath, you open underneath. So I'm not touching it. Until we get another opportunity, which would be maybe, I could see this if it went to 130, that's like an obvious buy on the weekly chart, but until it gets there, I got to stay away from that thing like a 10-foot pole. So I was looking for it to hold. That was the condition. I would have bought it this week just for a dip buy, dollar cost averaging, all that kind of stuff in the long term, but it did not happen. It's not going to happen at all. NEO, we jump back in the consolidation. It breaks 525 and we're out. Mr. Westermeyer, you should show the WINT chart. Wint? That was Wintry was crazy last week, but it was SINT that was going. It's not WINT. You must mean SINT. Although this is trying to break, I'm assuming you mean SINT, as Sharif just rightfully pointed out. But this is up 15%. I don't see anything going on here outside of maybe breaking. Oh, it is. No, this is the one. No, this could be interesting if it can get back above like 330.
It is WIN.
Yeah, but the volume here is tapering off. So you'd like to see it doing a little bit more vol here, but nice like 2 to 3 day consolidation underneath a disgusting move that you saw back on the third. It was nasty. Just the entire day couldn't catch a bid, get cut in a third for WINT. It's trying to get some of that back here as we speak, though. But yeah, not one that I want to touch. It's I'm trading one of these for a fade. I wanted the DJT, although DJT back to $17. It's already, it's too late. DJT's already given it all back.
Yep. DJT's home is sub 10. We talked about that when it was at 55, so I hope you guys have a 40 bagger there, but we'll see. All right, so Amazon right now, I can't stay away. It's at the 200 period. I feel like we have a 75 or this pre-market bottom, so I'm just going to lower the shares and see if we can maybe average into this one. Take like 20 cents if we can get it early here up to 174.20. That's sort of been the breaking spot right there, so a little bit of a move up. If we could take 20% out there and then get the rest out near VWAP, that would be, better than a 1-to-1 trade there, and we would like that. I can't get away. I think if the market rallies back, I really think this takes out the high of 175 again. So that would be a really, really great opportunity to get that through 175.20 or so there for Amazon. Just trying to less and less shares, man. We'll average it in near that drop, but the market's coming back in. So this is not a name that we want to be like layering into. The strongest name on the bunch here, and again, something that we had called earlier is going to be Palantir. Palantir one more time at this level. Still not even breaking lower. We have such a small piece now. I'm just holding this to see what happens. I'd love to get a 33.50 spot right there for Palantir. Obviously noticing this high of 34.05 has been holding. So we'll look at that. Nvidia 04s, pre-market level, looks like it wants to break. This is not a name that I'm going to chase anymore. If the market gives it up, I'm pretty sure they'll fight to Nvidia again. Nvidia had pretty obvious as a top there. If you're looking for short, you should be short already. 106 and change as this one drops back in. Like I said, we nailed the Google play, but we don't have it. That was one of them. I'm looking at my charts here. Bitcoin now losing 54. I know you were battling.
Yeah, I don't like
there. Coinbase back down into 150 again.
I was planning on only being a long Mara, but it actually looks like it might be a short. So I'm going to stay away from it because if 55,000 is gone and you're back underneath VWAP, like those are the two conditions. The trend usually holds VWAP, obviously, or holds higher lows. It held the higher low, that breakout price at 1385. But with 55,000 being battled literally right now, you're at 55, you're under by a couple of dollars, you're back at 55 as we speak. I want to see that resolve itself before jumping back in. It's still an upward trending stock for now. I want to give it some time to hold on to this bid. Adara, what do you have?
Keep an eye on Citigroup here. C, the ticker for this one here, the letter C, moving around a little bit as its CFO is making some comments saying that they're expecting a soft landing due to the expected drop here in interest rates, that there's been some good pickup in M&A and in revolving credits with credit card customers, saying that there's also a drop here in consumer payment rates, but there are some increases in delinquencies. Also noting here apparently that consumers are switching from discretionary to staples with regards to credit card customers. So interesting look here. Some comments in Citi pushing the stock below that $60 level, guys.
Dun, dun, dun. Not good.
We haven't looked at.
I like the fact that TD's trying to break out, though. Anyways, TD's been like a beleaguered Canadian bank. Big U.S. presence. They've had some issues with some lawsuits in there, but if it can break out 62, that looks a little bit good. I think the one that you guys look at, when I say you guys, I mean our community, right? Like mostly our trading community, here we go, is interested in JP Morgan, which when the Brecher ledge fell, this was actually the stock. When Chris Brecher was on last week, he said if we lost a 50 period on the SPY, it was JP Morgan specifically that he liked to the south side. Well, it's getting a little bit back today, but if the market is going to lose this bid, when I look at this, goes right back in to Thursday support. It's trying to hold a consolidation, makes a top. If we lose this 216 again, that doesn't look necessarily great. You're seeing the support get held. This loses VWAP. I would think this could be a continuation short. Apple just continues to bleed. I didn't think I'd want to be short Mara, but chart would suggest to me that we're now underneath 55,000 again. You're now not holding VWAP. It was upward trending. Every single time it's popped back above, it's been fail, fail, fail. might be a consolidation short, but Apple is bleeding going into this event. They keep saying available pop into 219. I don't want to take a low break. It just broke the low. My plan was to look for it to fail the break at the low of the day, maybe trap some people short, bounce back up, and then short the pop, and then that'll be the move. So it just broke the low of the day. I'm looking for a fail break, so I kind of want it to go back higher and then fade the pop in here. As anybody that punched short at 1045 kind of gets out, and then you look to get short as they're covering. That's the plan of action here on Apple. I don't like these breaks at this time of day. Thankfully, we didn't take it. You can see it's already starting to bounce now. 218.40 would be this local resistance here. If it goes into that price, look for a little reverse.
All right, Palantir's falling back in just a little bit. I think we can buy, I mean, VWAP is 56s or so. I mean, if we can get something back into 60s, I think that's fine. And then if we lose it, we're going to go. So we'll just back away from it. I don't even really want to punch out if it loses it, but I don't really want to give it back either, all the way to 33.20. I mean, especially with this market now breaking lower. We actually put out a TQQ short that never filled, breaking through that 58 area there on the NASDAQ. So fortunately, we missed that fill there. That was the low of the day. We talked about maybe breaking that one. So I'm sitting a little bit higher into VWAP and stuff. I'm actually, because we only have 10 minutes left, I'm going to cancel that trade because the long that we have on right now is going to be Amazon, and then looking to buy a little bit more Palantir. Come on, Amazon. If we can, like I said, oh man, we're sitting there at 18s. It just went to 16s. Let's see if we get a little bit more of a move up there, take sort of 1-to-1 on this trade, and then let's see if it wants to fly higher right there into the close, because Amazon trying to do it, and then Palantir as well. That dip buy missed, but we're still there for that dip buy again. And then Mara and Bitcoin still hovering 55,000. I've covered we've covered a lot of names there. Disney would be something else that we can quickly have a look at here. 88, so that name's gotten weaker and weaker as well as that name continues to go lower. Last couple weeks, or last week, I guess, not very good for this beleaguered name. $88 right now, looking at 85 as a hold for Disney. Probably a buy if you get into 85 or so. There for DIS if you're a longer term bull on the name. I'm not really. I've gotten out of decent spot of Disney and won't be averaging back into that one. I think the best defensive names are still big cap tech. So we'll wait to see if that can hold out or not. It's 10:50. You got to put your money somewhere. So let's go find out with Adara what's up with Money Talks.
Not a bad longer term look here for the DXY right now on the daily chart. Nice bottoming tail candle here and bounce off that 100.5 level as of Friday. Now seeing our second consistent green candle. Interestingly enough, that area we bounced off of was also a bit of a support area at the start of 2024 here at the end of, I guess, the end of December, start of January 2024 here. Also bounced again last July. So continued support at that 100.5 level that we're seeing right now for the DXY. Only real piece of economic data we got so far today is that wholesale inventories month-over-month number for July, slightly below expectations, 0.2% versus 0.3% expected. At 3 p.m., we're going to be getting the U.S. consumer credit number, forecast here of 11.2 billion. Previous print here, 8.93 billion. So be aware of that here coming at 3 p.m. Tomorrow, we'll get some comments here from Fed's Bar at 10 a.m. And interestingly enough, tomorrow evening, worth noting that U.S. presidential debate. Let's see if that moves the dollar. Something to be aware of, guys.
Well, I mean, you did have Donald Trump saying, essentially, hey, if you get away from the U.S. dollar, we're going to slap 100% tariff on you, which is wild. I don't think that would actually happen, but defending the dollar certainly is part of the plan of action. And then you've seen like the yen continue to make some moves. And that carry trade online and all that stuff, continuing to be a bit of the news story. So the market's trying to bounce here. Rivian finally got to VWAP. It took a while to do so, but that last little push on the market got it down here. So it's putting in higher lows, at least for now. Obviously, 13 was the right level. It's not where I was looking for early longs, unfortunately. But you had to take it really early off $13. If it holds VWAP, great. I'm going to be out if it takes out $13.35, and I'm going to wait for $13 on Rivian. So Rivian, this is what 13 looks like. If it just goes station to station, I don't know that it's going to have any chance of breaking the 14 level today, not with the way the market is heading back in, but looking for those higher lows. The market can hold on to the bottoms, and I want stocks that are showing at least some kind of an upward trend. which also leads me back to Palantir, which is starting to pull back into VWAP as we speak. So it's got a couple of higher lows. It did not respect VWAP, just for anyone looking at it. It broke VWAP and got about 20, I don't know, like you call that like 20 cents lower. So if it does a similar thing, to me, it can hold on to the trend and still be at like 1340 or 1330. But let's look for this one to dip into VWAP as the market's coming into some of these lows. Apple didn't really do much of a pop there. I was looking for a pop back into here on that failed break. It's still in the middle of the range and just hanging out at the bottom. I'd like to see it come up and then roll over at that resistance level or roll at VWAP, whichever one. But Apple clearly relatively weak. Only 5 minutes to go, but you got a couple of hours until the Apple event, which we were expecting to sell the news, but they just did not want to wait.
All right, so for me, Palantir did come into that level there, so we'll buy some 57s. So that's where we're long right now for Palantir. Just going to give it through 50s. Like if we break 50s, let's give it to like 40 something and get out of Palantir if it does go. We are very lucky, of course, to get out of Amazon, and not out of it. We got out of 20%, and we'll reload it down there at 174. So there's our out for Amazon. It'll be a red stock for now. Obviously, we lost on that first trade. We've been buying it up off this level. I want to be in this name if it rips. I feel like right here at the 200, it's basing out. This is a trade that I have to take all the time. So we have to do that. And just to let you guys know, we're going to be red on two stocks, right? Amazon, we're red on Amazon. But if you compare that to our highest stock, we're red about 15% of what we made on Palantir. And then Nvidia, we're red 10% of what we made on Tesla. So it's been a big day, needless to say, over here. And we're just going to watch to see what happens into the close. But for now, Neil and I are back at 2 o'clock. You're going to go over to Sharif. They're talking about trend lines, I believe, and channels. So take a look at that if you're interested. There it goes again. Another reload there on Amazon. We just talked about where we want to get long. There's another 20 cents, so it is another one as that comes in again here, Neil. Man, we're really on fire. I know it's been a tough day for many traders out there, but as you can look, some names won't go, some names will go. And this one's trying to go right now. Let's put something out in the 6.6s here. There it is. Nice little trade there again. Wow, that's a good one there. One more time. That's twice now. That's 3 times Palantir went to VWAP, and we sat there and said, give me Mo. So that's a good little trade there for Palantir. Out some 66s. Let's see if it works. And then I don't know. We're scalping it out. So we don't have, our fees today, very, very reasonable. We have about, as far as fills are concerned, I'm in a new version, so I don't see, there it is, 86 minus that, 5. We have about 80 fills or so today, and we're only paying $6 in fees. So, because you know why? We really didn't take too many trades because these were so big that we've just been able to sort of rest on them. So far, so good there for Palantir, man. I was never shut down live, no. So that's pretty unique, obviously, to do that. But let's go to see what we're doing right now back in for this trade there. But okay, so Palantir is now dropping back into 50s again, 10.57 and change. We're going to get out, again, if it breaks a little bit lower than this. We just took 67s out or 69s out. Let's see if we get that chance again and put another offer up to the upside. Palantir looks like it's fading out right now. We are pretty light on all these positions. Market looks like it wants to go lower. We should be short. We should be short Google. That's what we should be short on right now. Yeah.
I should be short Apple.
What's up, Jay Lee? As I told you, I'm green today. You can ask any of us at any time. But right now, short Apple, I like that. And I like to short Google for sure.
We never got Apple. Like Apple did a really quick wick up there to that 218.40 level and then slammed back down. Like Apple doesn't want to hold up there. Like before, it held 15 minutes at that same level. This time, it just wicked it and came back underneath. So if we get a pop back in, and we'll all leave the order in there, see if we can get picked up. I have a stop through that 44 level. It's just above that 40. Rivian at VWAP, it might hold on. It's going sideways, which is good, but sideways is not what you want for a stock. If the market continues lower and it goes sideways, great, then it's showing some strength, but it actually has to bounce here, or I'm not that excited about it. So Apple, you just continue to bleed to the downside. It does not look good at all for this for Apple. And if Apple goes down, it's going to drag a lot of things with it. Is what it is. Going to end up missing that. I did not want to punch any lows. I'm going to come back over to Mara as well because I thought Mara was going to hold under the consolidation under VWAP. It didn't. Mara ends up showing strength.
I should be short this.
So all of a sudden, you're back above VWAP here without the participation of Bitcoin. Mara just doesn't seem to care at this moment. We'll have to play this a little bit by ear. Palantir is at now that 40 level. This is where I was kind of looking for the dip buy, but it's in this range all the way down to 33.13. So let's let it pull back in to the breakout price. That's that 52-week high, or sorry, check that. I mean, obviously the 52-week high is 34 something now. That's that 52-week high going into today. If it's going to bounce somewhere, that's the only thing left in here for Palantir. So we'll have to look and wait to see where we can get into Apple to the south side. But I'm not going to chase it at the low of the day. We'll just look for another pop to be able to show. I think we sniffed out the right level, just wasn't able to get a fill, unfortunately, in AAPL. And I'll let Palantir drift down to that 33.13. That's where we want to try to catch it again. That 52-week level seems like it's going to be the most important one for sure. But C Battles in the chat said AMC GME. Jimmy's not really moving that much today. On Friday, it gave you good long opportunities pretty much the entire day, higher lows, all that good stuff. It's giving you something of that without a break of the high. They do report, I do believe that is tomorrow after the bell, should be anyways, and you're getting a distinct 24 rejection over and over again. So until the buyers get above 24, I think you got to sit and wait for this thing. It's kind of barcoding back and forth. Play the bottom of the range, not the top, because there's sellers galore above the 24 level on GameStop. You're going to talk a little bit about some channels. Well, this is the best channel for live trading. GameStop's got a channel. Actually, GameStop has a channel as well. If you look at it, I mean, the channel would give you the same highs and same lows in a distinct pattern. I think you're getting one in GME. But let's see what Sharif and Adara at Learn to Trade have to say about trading in channels.
Oh, hello.
Nice.
Welcome, everybody.
Hi.
What is up, beautiful people? Welcome to How to Trade, formerly known as that midday show. Yes, that is your girl, Adara. Believe it or not, I'm Sharif, and Scott H says he is back in the house. Welcome back, Big Scott.